What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 5TR Chapter 81. Water of Heroes in the room, Orochimaru, who only has 3 hours left to live, is very uneasy. He must immediately find a new body and undergo living corpse reincarnation. Otherwise, when the 3 hours are up, he will die again. Death is not terrible, he can be resurrected anyway. However, the waiting time for resurrection cannot be determined. It may happen soon, or it may take decades. It would be better to find a new body and seize it. He walked toward the door, and then tragedy struck. He took 2 big steps, moved too hard, and then his leg bone was broken. He, who has always been elegant, couldn't help but want to use swear words at this time. How could he have imagined that this body would be so old? The bones were completely brittle and the movement range could not be extended. This fracture made it even more difficult for him to move. Forget it, let's act like a snake. I saw him open his mouth, and a new Orochimaru came out of his mouth, still white-haired, still wrinkled, and dry, not as slimy as before. Getting old and dry. The difference is that this new body has a snake tail instead of legs. Orochimaru landed on its tail and swam forward, but before it swam twice, the scales on the snake's tail's abdomen fell off in batches. F***K. He couldn't help it anymore and started swearing. The movement of snakes depends entirely on the expansion and contraction of the scales on their abdomen, which are equivalent to human feet. Now that the scales have fallen off, Orochimaru has had his legs and feet broken. He didn't give up yet. He couldn't move his lower body, so he put his hands on the ground and slowly moved forward. Crack. Broken wrist. He still didn't give up, put his arms and chest on the ground, and used the power of his forearms to move forward. Crack. Broken elbow. Gift crab. He lay on the ground, completely in disarray. The horror of aging is vividly reflected at this moment. Orochimaru's desire for eternity began to grow infinitely. What should we do now? Whether it's a human body or a snake body, we have lost the ability to move. If no one comes within 3 hours, wouldn't it be the end of me? Once I die, Danzo will definitely take the opportunity to become the new Hokage. If he really becomes the Hokage, Konoha will be doomed. Orochimaru was worried, but no matter what he thought, he could only wait patiently. Waiting for a destined person. Time passed minute by minute, 10 minutes passed in the blink of an eye, but Orochimaru felt like 10 years had passed. The wait is always long. Finally, footsteps sounded outside the door. Orochimaru was overjoyed, thinking that the opportunity had come. But the footsteps were just passing by, and soon they were gone again. Half an hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. No one has come. The reason is that when Mizuki left with the phosphorus, he did not hide it and flew away from the sky. This resulted in Kusaku Ninja leaving after seeing Karen. Therefore, no matter who is injured, they will not come here to look for fragrant phosphorus. Seeing that 3 hours were approaching, Orochimaru felt that Shinigami was waving to him. Advertisement, all F***KU. At this moment, slow footsteps approached and an old voice sounded. I just saw from the window that the red-haired little girl was taken away. She must still have food and money at home, and we can't waste it. The enemies are fighting at the entrance of the village. It's safe here. The next moment, an old lady in her 70s and 80s on a cane opened the door and looked right into Orochimaru's eyes. 2 swallowing sounds sounded at the same time. Mizuki returned to Phoenix Village and found that everything was safe and sound. The construction of Fenghuang Village has begun to take shape. Around Fengying Tower, hospitals, schools, commercial streets, squares, parks, residential areas, etc. have been built around it. The construction radius has exceeded 300 meters. The layout of the village is also set in the shape of 8 trigrams. Mizuki plans to turn Phoenix Village into a standard 8 trigrams village. Ninjas are basically practicing, but of course there are exceptions. Tsunade is addicted to gambling and can't help herself. She won't stop until she loses hundreds of thousands of taels every day. Zabuza searched for orphans everywhere and brought them back to Phoenix Village. He paid people to take care of these orphans and planned to build an orphanage in the village. Naruto has perfected the shadow clone technique, a shuriken. With nothing to do, he helps move wood and contributes to the construction of Phoenix Village. Seeing that Naruto's training progressed so quickly, Sasuke's face was expressionless. But when he was practicing alone, he would often say something like, I'm not even as good as the tail of a crane. He would even kneel on the ground, beat the ground crazily, and roar with his head raised. Sai, who likes to hide in the woods and draw, saw these and drew them all in his album, and shared them with his brother Shin. Hey, poor baby, she was tricked like this. When Mizuki flew back to Fenghuang Village with Shanglin, he saw Sai and Shin on the roof of Fengying Tower, pointing at the scene in the painting. With the addition of Uzumaki, the population of Phoenix Village has grown again. After gathering everyone together and introducing Shanglin, Mizuki asked Sasuke to stay. Sasuke, I know you want to become stronger quickly, but I need to remind you that haste makes waste. Sasuke frowned and murmured, haste makes waste? Mizuki explained. The efficiency of people's work has a very important relationship with their mentality. The more you want to accomplish something, the more urgent your mentality will be, and people will appear anxious, restless, or even manic. As a result, the efficiency of doing things will be greatly reduced. Mizuki said seriously, Sasuke, you are too anxious. Your qualifications are better than Naruto's. Your ability to understand, learn, and think are all better than Naruto's. But your training speed is not as fast as Naruto's, and that's why. Sasuke became even more anxious when he heard this. He said loudly, I can't be like Naruto, carefree and smiling all day long. When I think about the tragic situation of the Uchiha clan being wiped out, I can't calm down. His face became ferocious, his eyes automatically turned red, and two Magatama appeared. I want to become stronger quickly, I want revenge, I can't wait to kill Danzo now, I can't wait to destroy Konoha immediately. Sasuke's hatred for Danzo and Konoha has far exceeded his previous hatred for Uchiha Itachi. Mizuki sighed and said, if you want to become stronger, there is nothing you can do. The one-tail Shukaku in Gaara's body, I will pull it out after a while and seal it into your body. Becoming a Jinchuriki, your chakra will be greatly increased and your strength will be enhanced. And as a member of the Uchiha clan, you can use Sharingan Genjutsu to control Shukaku without fear of its backlash. After hearing this, Sasuke was overjoyed and said, thank you so much, master. Mizuki said, tisk tisk tisk, in his heart. Sasuke, this kid, has never been called master, except when he became a disciple for the first time. Today is really unprecedented. At this time, Mizuki took out a small test tube of hero water, about the size of a mouthful. Advertisement, take this thing, it may be useful to you in the future. Sasuke asked. What is this? Is it a potion to drink? Mizuki said. This stuff is poisonous, so you must not drink it. Even if you drink it, it will be given to Shukaku after you become one-tailed Jinchuriki and when you encounter an invincible enemy. At this time, Gaara, who had just left the Hoi Tower and was talking to Naruto, felt Shukaku shudder in his body. Sasuke took the hero's water and put it away in the storage ring. Okay, go ahead and practice. Remember what I said, haste makes waste. Watching Sasuke leave, Mizuki's eyes were filled with anticipation. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket the system's sound indeed rang. Host grants disciple Uchiha Sasuke a sip of heroic water, triggering a 3037 times return. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you have obtained the water of heroes. Close black lens bracket. Water of the hero? Mizuki was stunned for a moment. What the hell is this name? The system introduced. Water of heroes. Take a sip, and the chakra capacity will be permanently increased, with a minimum increase of 10 times and a maximum of 50 times. The more original chakra, the smaller the improvement. Close black lens bracket. Tip. No side effects. Close black lens bracket a permanent improvement that makes Mizuki very happy. The last sentence had no side effects and made Mizuki laugh wildly. Ha 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 ha. This was what he was waiting for. Definitely worthy of the word hero. The original version is called Hero's Water because drinking it will reduce your vitality. If your vitality is reduced, you will die easily. Those who sacrifice themselves heroically regardless of their own lives are not heroes. It was returned by the system. There will be no side effects after drinking it, and you will not die. It was named the water of the hero by the system, so there is nothing wrong with it. The one who becomes the ultimate winner is the hero. A test tube appeared in Mizuki's hand, containing a blue potion. Without hesitation, he unplugged the test tube and drank it in one gulp without wasting a drop. Boom. The chakra inside his body began to increase violently, and even overflowed outside his body, forming a blue coat of chakra on his body. Around him, the air was moved by chakra, forming a whirlwind. His hair and kakuzu floated as if they had escaped the gravity of the earth. The powerful momentum spread out, and everyone felt it. Even ordinary people who were engaged in construction felt the depressing atmosphere. So strong. Sasuke had just walked out of Funging Tower. He was the closest and had the clearest feelings. He even felt as if there was a mountain pressing on his back, making him breathless. Naruto and Gaara also looked towards the Phoenix Tower, and the 9 tails and 1 tail in their bodies also opened their eyes. Such a huge chakra, more than my chakra, what kind of monster is that Mizuki? Shukaku screamed inside Gaara. 9 tails sneered, let out a breath from his nostrils, and closed his eyes again. In the dark sealed space, a contemptuous voice sounded. That's it, it's far worse than me. In the Phoenix Tower, Mizuki's chakra capacity stopped growing. All the uncontrolled chakra that spilled out of the body regained control and was taken back into the body. His aura subsided and he became like an ordinary person again. Open the properties panel to see that the chakra capacity has changed from 55 Kakashi to 550 Kakashi. If Kakashi knew about it, he would probably be so jealous that he would faint in the toilet from crying. Is it only a 10-fold improvement? But that's enough. Chapter 82. Naruto's imagination is wide open. The vitality is sufficient, the chakra is sufficient, and the basic conditions of the Rinne Tensai technique have been met. It's time to prepare for the resurrection of Nawaki and Kato Dan. So, Mizuki sent Naruto to the capital of Bird Country to call Tsunade back. Naruto's Flying Thunder God technique makes him extremely fast. Look at him, he threw a kunai, and the kunai flew hundreds of meters in the blink of an eye. At this time, Naruto appeared next to the kunai through the Flying Thunder God, reached out to grab the kunai, and threw it forward again. After the kunai flew hundreds of meters, he moved to the side of the kunai again with Flying Thunder God. Ninjas are physically stronger than ordinary people, and they can throw kunai extremely fast. As soon as the kunai is released, its speed can reach hundreds of meters per second. Due to air resistance, the kunai's speed will decrease during flight. But with the streamlined design of kunai, although the speed is reduced, it is not reduced by much. On average, it takes less than 1.5 seconds for a kunai to fly 100 meters. Including the time spent waving his arms when throwing the kunai, in total, Naruto can move about 50 meters per second with the Flying Thunder God technique. Not fast enough. Naruto was still not satisfied, so he took out his second special kunai. Two kunai, number 1 and number 2, are thrown out one after another, number 1 in front and number 2 in the back. When kunai number 1 flew about 100 meters, kunai number 2 flew 50 meters. At this time, Naruto activated Flying Thunder God, came to kunai number 2, grabbed kunai number 2 and threw it forward. Then he flew to kunai number 1, grabbed kunai number 1 and threw it forward. At this time, kunai number 2 flew forward again. Naruto dodged to kunai number 2 again, grabbed kunai number 2 and threw it forward. Just like that, number 1 threw number 2 finished number 1, and Naruto moved forward quickly. While throwing one kunai, another kunai was still flying. In this way, the time spent waving his arms was no longer wasted, and Naruto's movement speed reached its maximum. Every second, it advances approximately 70 meters. It can be said that as fast as kunai can fly, his speed is as fast as it can be. His father used to be the fastest man in the ninja world, and now, that title belongs to him. Of course, you have to be careful with this approach. After all, when you dodge to a kunai, another kunai will fly from behind and pierce yourself accidentally, which would be funny. In addition, this method of advancement is very labor-intensive, and it can easily become handicapped if used too much. I have to say that Naruto's mind is very flexible at certain times. Flashing and flashing, Naruto was dissatisfied again. He thought, could it be faster? He stopped, thought for a moment, and suddenly his eyes lit up. Got an idea. Hey, I saw him looking around and found a bamboo forest. He went to chop down a bamboo and cut off the branches. Then a special kunai was tied to the top of the bamboo, while he held the bottom of the bamboo in his hand. He held the bamboo, which was almost 5 meters long, pointing straight ahead like a spear. The kunai is at the top of the bamboo, 5 meters away from me. As soon as I use the Flying Thunder God technique, I will teleport to the kunai's location. Advertisement: the kunai is tied to the bamboo, and the bamboo is held in my hand. My position moves forward 5 meters, and the bamboo and kunai will also move forward 5 meters. In this way, I can use Flying Thunder God continuously to move forward. Although I only move forward 5 meters each time, Flying Thunder God is instant. I have tried it before and it can flash 30 times in 1 second, which means it can move forward 150 meters in 1 second. After calculating the forward speed, Naruto was overjoyed. You can also change to longer bamboo in the future, and the progress will be faster. Naruto clenched the bamboo in his hand, and the next moment, Flying Thunder God activated. The next moment, he appeared at the location of the special kunai, and the bamboo in his hand also moved forward 5 meters. Yeah, it sure works. Naruto was very happy, but the next moment, he saw something strange. The kunai tied to the top of the bamboo flickered wildly between its original position and its current position. The more it flashes, the lighter the color of the kunai becomes, until finally, the kunai disappears completely. How could this happen? Naruto's eyes widened, as if he had seen a ghost. He is not Sister Lee. So, he took out a new kunai and repeated his old trick. Then the same scene appeared again, the kunai flickered one after another until it finally disappeared. Once is a coincidence. If it happens twice, there must be other problems. But why is this? He was puzzled and could only put it down for the time being, planning to ask Mizuki when he returned to the village. Inside Naruto, Nine Tails opened his eyes. This kid has more weird ideas than Kushina and Minato. I really don't know how his brain grows. Nine Tails were shocked by Naruto's fantastic idea. Having lived for thousands of years, it had never seen anything weird, but Naruto's weird behavior just now was something it could never have imagined. Relying on 2 kunai, Naruto reached the capital of Bird Country as quickly as possible and found Tsunade in the casino. Naruto, why are you here? Shizune asked. Naruto said, Master Mizuki is back and calls Granny Tsunade back to the village. Oh, by the way, Master also brought back a red-haired girl named Uzumaki Koro. She has the same last name as me. She is a very timid girl and a bit of a nymphomaniac. Shizune asked curiously, why do you say she is a nymphomaniac? Naruto pouted. TCH, she kept peeking at Sasuke and her face turned red. She's either a nympho or something. Little Sakura never looked at Sasuke like that before. Shizune. She was peeking at Sasuke. How did you find out? Are you peeking at her? Naruto said loudly. I didn't, I just looked at it openly. At this time, Tsunade slammed the table and shouted, Shut up, you are so noisy and interrupt my train of thought. Naruto curled his lips and said, TCH, it doesn't matter whether you have the same idea or not, you will lose anyway. Okay, Granny Tsunade, stop playing and go back to the village. Tsunade said irritably. Wait a minute, I'll finish this game first. Soon, Tsunade lost, but he still wanted to try again. Shizune said, Tsunade-sama, Hokage-sama must be looking for you for that matter. Let's go back first. Tsunade's expression changed and he said, okay, let's go back. 3 people and 1 pig left the casino and returned to Fenghuang village. Halfway through, Naruto said, Grandma Tsunade, I think you should learn to smoke. Tsunade raised an eyebrow and said, why? Naruto. Look, when gambling, 1 foot is on the table and a cigarette is hanging from the corner of the mouth. Just think about it, Hockey. Advertisement Shizune on the side automatically imagined that scene, and then his whole body felt bad. Hey, Piglet Dolphin also expressed his speechlessness. Tsunade's eyes lit up and he said, yes, why didn't I think of it before? Naruto said happily, my suggestion is good, isn't it? Hockey's appearance will definitely frighten other gamblers and scare them away along with their luck. When the time comes, everyone else will lose and you will win. The more Naruto spoke, the brighter Tsunade's eyes lit up. Shizune, turn back immediately and buy me a pack of cigarettes, don't forget the lighter. From today on, I will learn to smoke, Shizune. Tsunade-sama, smoking is harmful to health and has a great impact on the trachea and lungs. I think it's better to stop smoking. Tsunade. It doesn't matter. I'm a medical ninja. Don't worry about being unhealthy. Tsunade-sama, smoking will turn your teeth yellow and affect your beauty. Feeling. It doesn't matter, I am a medical ninja. I can prepare high-efficiency toothpaste, and I am not afraid of yellow teeth. Tsunade-sama, smoking is prohibited in the casino. Tsunade. I will discuss with the boss tomorrow and change the rules. Tsunade-sama. Tsunade said angrily, you are done or not, just do as I say. Naruto said, I'd better go, I'm fast. In Fengying Tower, when Mizuki saw Tsunade walking into the office with a cigarette hanging from the corner of his mouth, puffing away, he couldn't help but twitching in the corners of his eyes. What happened? How did Tsunade become a chain smoker? Ahem. Smoking makes your breath bad. Aren't you afraid that Kato-dan will dislike you after he is resurrected? Mizuki couldn't help it anymore and said. Tsunade smoked for a moment, then continued, not taking Mizuki's words to heart at all. I'm a medical ninja. I can prepare medicine to clear up bad breath. Mizuki. He didn't care. The basic conditions for resurrecting Nawaki and Kato-dan have been met. The next step is to go to Konoha and bring their life materials back to resurrect them. Although Rinne Tensai can resurrect the dead, she cannot resurrect people out of thin air. Nagato was able to resurrect people in Konoha because he chose not to resurrect a single person, but circled the entire Konoha village and resurrected all the people who had just died. Black Zetsu can use the Rinne Tensai technique to resurrect Madara because he knows Madara's special skills, and knows Madara's location. Mizuki doesn't know Nawaki and Kato-dan, so he can't resurrect people with just 2 names. Therefore, Mizuki needs Nawaki and Zan's life matter, which is part of their bodies, so that they can be resurrected. You tell me where they are buried and I will go get them, I am fast. Tsunade nodded and told Mizuki the details of where Nawaki and Dan were buried. At this moment, Naruto intervened. Master, can you resurrect my father and mother too? They died so young. Mizuki nodded and said, all right. So, Mizuki, who had just returned to the village, set off again. Looking at Mizuki flying away in the air, Tsunade, Shizune, and Naruto all had their eyes filled with anticipation. They look forward to the resurrection of their loved ones. Chapter 83. Resurrected Hyuga Hizashi outside Konoha village, Mizuki was hanging in the air, looking at the Hokage rock being restored in the distance. After falling to the ground, he did not enter the village immediately. A corpse was taken out from the storage ring, which was Chun's corpse. Heretic. Rinne Tensai technique. The corpse was surrounded by green light, the air of death dissipated, life reappeared, and the cold corpse became warm. The green light dissipated and Tsubaki opened his eyes. She is alive. Mizuki smiled and asked, Tsubaki, how do you feel? Chun wondered. This is not a pure land. Why am I here? I'm obviously dead. Mizuki explained. You are indeed dead. I used ninjutsu to resurrect you. Tsubaki didn't look happy, but looked at Mizuki and asked, who are you? Mizuki frowned, wondering if he had lost his memory. I'm Mizuki, don't you remember me? Tsubaki shook his head and said, you are not Mizuki, or in other words, you are not the real Mizuki. The real Mizuki is already dead. Mizuki sighed. Sure enough, she had seen the dead Mizuki in the Pure Land and knew that the real Mizuki was dead and the living one was just a fake Mizuki. Mizuki had expected all of this. This is why he did not choose to resurrect Chun in Phoenix Village. Because Mizuki knew that after Tsubaki was resurrected, he knew that he was not the real Mizuki and would probably choose not to stay in Phoenix Village. Now that you know, what are your plans? Go back to Konoha to expose my identity? Or do you want to take the initiative to return to the Pure Land? When he first traveled through time, Mizuki was afraid that his identity would be exposed. At that time, he was too weak and would die if he was not careful. But now, he is afraid. Besides, Tsubaki only knows that he is a fake Mizuki, but does not know his identity as a time traveler, so there is no need to worry at all. Chun glanced at Mizuki's forehead, but did not see the forehead protector, and asked, did you defect to Konoha? Mizuki nodded and said, I established a new ninja village in the land of birds. Chun said, it is impossible to return to the Pure Land. The world of the living is more exciting after all. How can I take the initiative to go back after finally being resurrected? As for Konoha, no more. When the root leader Danzo used me to kill you, I was completely disappointed in Konoha. Mizuki asked. So, do you plan to go back to Phoenix Village with me? No. I love the real Mizuki, not you. You killed Mizuki and took over Mizuki's appearance. I don't know how to deal with you. I wish I could kill you, but I know I can't. In Tsubaki's eyes, Mizuki felt murderous intent and powerlessness. If it weren't for her lack of strength, she might have launched an attack. Mizuki said calmly. In that case, you can do whatever you want. At this point, there is nothing left to say. As she said, the real Mizuki was killed by herself, although the root cause was caused by time travel. She wanted to kill the fake Mizuki in front of her, of course. As for Mizuki, he wouldn't leave someone who wants to kill him at all times. Although he knew that she couldn't kill him, it would not be good for anyone to keep someone who hated him by his side. After thinking for a while, he took out a seal scroll and threw it over. Originally, you would have lived a good life in Konoha. After all, it was me who brought you to this point. This seal scroll contains something to compensate you. Advertisement, goodbye. After Mizuki finished speaking, he apparated away and didn't stay for a moment. There is a lot of money in the seal scroll, enough for Chun to live in anonymity and live a prosperous life. There are also some ninjutsu training scrolls. If she wants to build a ninja family, that's no problem. After this separation, the two have no further relationship. Chun took the sealing scroll, jumped onto the tree, glanced at Konoha village in the distance, and turned away resolutely. To Konoha, she was already a dead person. As long as she didn't be too high profile, Konoha wouldn't notice her and wouldn't treat her as a wanted traitor. Go to a small country, keep a low profile, and she can live a comfortable life. Mizuki arrived at the entrance of Konoha village and walked through the door with a swagger just like last time. It was late in the evening, and the ninja guarding the gate was trapped in illusions throughout the whole process, and had no idea that someone with bad intentions was intruding. Mizuki used the transformation technique to change his body shape and appearance, went to eat a bowl of Ichiraku ramen, and after dark, he headed to Konoha cemetery. I, the leader of a dignified village, have even done tomb robbing in order to strengthen Fengwang village. There is no dedicated village leader in the world who cares about the village as much as I do. In the past, no one guarded the tombs in the cemetery, because the corpses of ninjas had been processed, and even if they were stolen, no useful information could be obtained. Moreover, there are no burial objects after the death of ninjas, so no one would be stupid enough to rob these poor tombs. But since the third generation knew that Orochimaru would impure world reincarnation, they arranged for tomb guards. To this day, there are people guarding the tomb. They hide in the dark and monitor everything in the cemetery. Easily lulling these gravekeepers into fantasy, Mizuki walked into the cemetery. Shadow clone technique. Bang. Dozens of shadow clones appear. Go and find the tombs of Nawaki, Kato Dan, the fourth generation couple, and the Uchiha Tomigoshi couple, and take out some of their bones. You can also take the bones of other people, such as Hitaki Sakumo, Lin, Uruka's parents, Hyuga Hizashi. Anyway, take some of them if you think they are useful. Now that you are here, take them all away at once. No matter whether you use it or not, just take it and tell it, maybe it will come in handy at some point. When the shadow clones dispersed and found a suitable candidate, they did not need to dig graves. They directly activated the secret technique of heavenly resentment drilled into the graves along the soil, and collected some bones. It doesn't need to be much, even a hair will do. Soon, the collection of bones was completed, and each person's bones were stored separately and labeled to indicate their identity to avoid confusion. When the shadow clone was released, Mizuki received a large amount of memory information, and for a while, his mind was filled with rotting bones. The huge impact of memory made him frown. I don't know how Naruto managed to survive the thousands of shadow clones he had after being released. It has to be said that the Uzumaki clan's physique is indeed powerful. Very resistant. After the discomfort passed, Mizuki discovered some abnormalities in the memories of these shadow clone. Many people's graves were opened not long ago, and their bones were also touched. It's Orochimaru's fault. He relies heavily on impure world reincarnation. Mizuki didn't care, turned around and walked out of the cemetery. At this moment, someone walked into the cemetery, walked to a tombstone in a familiar way, and stood quietly in front of the tombstone. Mizuki saw clearly from the side that the person coming was none other than Hyuga Neji. The tomb in front of him is the burial place of his father, Hyuga Hizashi. Father, today I am training with Miss Hinata, but I can't help but feel murderous intention. The patriarch noticed it immediately and used caged bird to make me miserable. Although I read the letter you left for me and know that you voluntarily died on behalf of the clan leader, I still cannot forgive you. I know that you want to use death to get rid of curse mark, caged bird. I also want to get rid of caged bird, but I don't want to die because I want revenge. I want to change Hyuga, change Konoha, and change the entire ninja world. Advertisement, I believe that I will be able to get rid of caged bird's control, and I will work hard for it throughout my life. Without Naruto's words, Neji would still be the rebellious boy he was. And this is really what Mizuki wants to see. Young man, if you want to get rid of caged bird, I can help you. Who? Neji was shocked and immediately opened his eyes, but saw no one. He was shocked. The voice was clearly in his ears, but why was there no one there? Is there a ghost? The next moment, a pool of water emerged from the ground, quickly rose up, and turned into a person. It's you. Neji recognized Mizuki immediately, Facing the Konoha S-class rebellious nin who killed the 3rd Hokage and the 4th Kazekage, Neji felt neither fear nor disgust. Because he has no sense of belonging to Konoha and hates the 3rd generation even more, because it was the cowardice of the 3rd generation that led to the death of his father, he has no hatred for Mizuki, a rebellious ninja. I heard everything you said, but I'm sorry to tell you that you can never undo Caged Bird on your own. Neji asked. You said you could help me, how could you help me? Mizuki's right eye turned into a Rinnegan and said, the Rinnegan has a pupil technique called the Rinne Tensai technique, which can resurrect the dead. The curse mark. Caged Bird on Hyuga Branch House's forehead will be activated at the moment of death, destroying the Byakugan, and then the Caged Bird will become ineffective. I can resurrect the dead Hyuga Branch House, and then get rid of the control of Caged Bird. Neji asked again. Why should I trust you? As he spoke, his eyes glanced at Hizashi's tombstone. Mizuki saw his little thought, smiled lightly and said, I can resurrect your father, but I will not help you unconditionally. As long as you can resurrect my father and help me disable Caged Bird, I will give everything for you. Giving everything. It's not that serious. What I like is your qualifications. I have only one condition. You betray Konoha, join Phoenix Village and become my disciple. Neji frowned. Is it that simple? Mizuki said, it's that simple. Neji said without hesitation. I promise you, no matter what your purpose is, I promise you. Mizuki took out Hizashi's life substance, a hair, and placed it on the ground. Heretic. Rinne Tensai technique. A rich green light enveloped the hair. The light was so dazzling that even Neji's white eyes couldn't see clearly what was happening in the green light. But when the green light dissipated, Neji saw the figure with the attribute in his memory. Father. Hyuga Hizashi looked at Neji with a sad face and said, I didn't expect you to come to the Pure Land at such a young age. Mizuki. This is not a Pure Land, you have been resurrected by me. Not the Pure Land. I'm resurrected. How is this possible? Hizashi looked around quickly and realized that he was really resurrected. But Neji saw that the curse mark, Caged Bird, was still there on the son's forehead. Didn't you say that death can remove the Caged Bird? Why is the Caged Bird on my father's forehead still there? Before Mizuki could speak, Hizashi explained, Neji, this Caged Bird is no longer effective. The moment I die, Caged Bird is lifted. After speaking, he turned to look at Mizuki and said, I don't know what your purpose is in resurrecting me, but if you want to use this to deal with the Hyuga clan, I will never agree. Mizuki. You don't know a good person's heart. If it weren't for Neji, Laozi would be blind before resurrecting you. Chapter 84. Ninja Cat Wearing a Bow. I resurrected you for Neji and it has nothing to do with the Hyuga family, Mizuki said bluntly. Neji is extremely talented, and we in Phoenix Village need talents like him. I will take him out of Konoha, accept him as my disciple, and teach him to become stronger. Hizashi breathed a sigh of relief and said immediately, I think I understand your intention. You have the ability to resurrect the dead. You plan to let Neji die first, and then resurrect him after the Caged Bird fails, so that he can escape the fate of the branch house. At this point, Hizashi fell silent. After a while, he sighed and said, I have already died once. Although I am Neji's father, I will not make decisions for him. Neji said, Father, we are together. Hizashi did not agree immediately, but looked at Mizuki and asked, Do you have the ability to protect Byakugan from being taken away by other countries? As soon as he finished speaking, veins popped up in the corners of Hizashi's eyes. He actually opened his Byakugan and looked into Mizuki's body. How is this possible with such a huge chakra? He was stunned by the huge amount of chakra in Mizuki's body. Mizuki saw his expression and was not surprised. I can only guarantee that people from other countries will not break into my village and take away Byakugan. If you go out and I'm not nearby, you have to rely on yourself. Of course, if any country dares to take away your Byakugan, then I will go to that country and take back the Byakugan. Hizashi's eyes were dull and he murmured, That's enough. That's enough. Someone with this kind of chakra is definitely a super strong person. At first, Hiyashi's eyes were almost sent away by 3rd generation. At the end of the 3rd Ninja War, Cloud Shinobi sent a team of peace envoys to Konoha to sign an armistice agreement with Konoha. But Cloud Shinobi's purpose is not a truce, but a blind eye. At night, a Cloud Shinobi sneaked into the Hyuga tribe and kidnapped Hinata, but was killed by Hyuga Heishi. After the death of the peace envoy, Cloud Shinobi immediately refused to sign the armistice agreement and threatened Konoha to hand over the murderer, who was Hyuga Heishi. The purpose is to get Hiyashi's eyes rolled. What's ridiculous is that 3rd generation actually agreed to Cloud Shinobi's request and persuaded Heishi to die voluntarily to calm the anger of Cloud Shinobi village. In order to end the war as soon as possible and for the sake of peace and stability, please put the overall situation first. At the critical moment, Hizashi stood up and died in Hiyashi's place, and his body was taken to Cloud Shinobi village. Halfway through, Cloud Shinobi discovered that his Byakugan had been destroyed by Curse Mark, Caged Bird, and threw his body in anger. The cowardice of the 3rd generation has created this tragedy. So Hizashi knew clearly that Konoha could not protect Byakugan. This is why he asked if Mizuki could protect Byakugan. In that case, I am willing to go with you. For Konoha, for Hyuga, he had died once. Now that he is resurrected, he no longer owes Konoha or Hyuga anything. He didn't have any psychological burden of leaving Konoha and Hyuga. Let's go. At night, The three of them left the cemetery and walked towards the entrance of Konoha village. Mizuki took out a hat and asked Hisashi to put it on his head to cover his face. As for myself and Neji, there was no cover-up. As they walked, Neji told Hisashi what had happened in Konoha in recent years. Hearing that Orochimaru was the 5th Hokage, Hisashi was even more grateful that he had made the right choice. Advertisement arriving at the gate of Konoha in a swagger, Mizuki glanced sideways. The ninjas guarding the gate immediately fell into the illusion, standing there with fear on their faces, unable to move. Hisashi has a better understanding of Mizuki's strength. The three of them left in a grand manner. Only after they were far away did the ninja guarding the door get rid of the control of the illusion. Quickly, go report to 5th Hokage. The rebel ninja Mizuki broke into Konoha and took Hyuga Neji away. There is also an unidentified ninja wearing a hat. Ninja defection is no small matter. The news was quickly reported to the Hokage building, but Orochimaru was not there. Soon the Hyuga family learned about Neji's defection, and Might Guy was also notified. Soon, the news spread throughout Konoha. Everyone was in an uproar. Someone from Hyuga branch house defected. This is definitely the funniest joke today. Who doesn't know that the Hyuga clan has curse mark? Caged bird. Even if they defect to an alien planet, the clan can kill the defector by activating Caged bird. Therefore, no one in the Hyuga family ever defected because defecting meant death. Now that Hyuga Neji has defected, everyone's first reaction is of course disbelief. Even Danzo's first reaction when he heard the news was that his ninjas were playing tricks on him. But soon, the news was confirmed, and Danzo had to believe it even if he didn't believe it. He immediately came to Hyuga's house and found Hyuga Heishi. Hyuga Neji followed the rebel nin Mizuki and left the village. The news has been confirmed. It can be confirmed that Neji has defected and chose to go to Phoenix Village. Such a traitor cannot be allowed to continue living in the ninja world. I order you to activate curse mark, Caged bird immediately and kill Neji. Of course Hyuga Heishi was unwilling to be ordered to kill his own nephew. Even if the relationship is not good, they're still my relatives. Danzo-sama, Neji has left Konoha, but whether he defected or not remains to be confirmed. Besides, Neji is young. Even if he defected, it was because he was bewitched by Mizuki. We need to give young people a chance to change their ways. So I think sending a ninja team to recover Neji is the most important thing at the moment. Danzo snorted coldly. Why, don't you even listen to my orders? Heishi said. It's not that I don't listen, but killing the ninjas in the village requires Master Hokage's personal approval. If we kill Neji rashly, we won't be able to bear this responsibility when Lord Hokage comes back. Danzo shouted. Every rebel ninja will be punished, just do it, I will explain it to the 5th generation. Heishi. Can't do it. If Lord Danzo feels that Neji must die, then please send your own root ninjas to hunt him down. I won't take action until 5th Hokage gives the order. You. Danzo's breath hitched. Damn it, uncle, let me send Genbu to chase and kill you, you can say this. With Mizuki here, no matter where you go, you will be killed. You think I am stupid? 5th generation Mead Village has implemented a secret plan. Now Konoha is in charge of me. My orders are the highest orders and you must execute them. Danzo started to use force to suppress Heishi. Heishi did not show weakness and said, 5th generation is not here, there are still 2 consultants in the village, and Lord Jiraiya. The meaning is very straightforward. You said that Konoha is yours to decide. Who do you think you are? After all, the Hyuga clan is also the most wealthy family in Konoha, and they are still able to resist the powerful. It can be seen from the lack of a white eye at the root that Hyuga has never been weak. Danzo's face darkened, he turned around and left angrily. Heishi stared at Danzo with blank eyes until he saw Danzo leave the Hyuga tribe. Advertisement, HMPH, you are an old dog who bullies the weak and fears the strong. He still wants to ride on my Hyuga family's head and poop and pee ****, without even looking at his own virtues. Everyone used to let you go because of the 3rd generation Sake. Now that the 3rd generation is dead, you are nothing. Danzo left the Hyuga tribe angrily, cursing as he walked. Damn Orochimaru, he went to the grass ninja village to cause trouble, why didn't he come back for so long? And the damn Hyuga clan, sooner or later you will be the same as the Uchiha clan. The 3 of Mizuki left Konoha and headed west. In the dark night, walking on the forest path, the surroundings are very quiet. Suddenly, a shrill meow sounded. Hisashi immediately opened his Byakugan and looked towards the place where the cry came from. He had just been resurrected and was full of curiosity and freshness about everything around him. There was some disturbance, and he wanted to take a look. After reading it, he still wanted to sigh, what an awesome cat. In his field of vision, a fat orange cat with a bow on his head was fighting with a python as thick as a bowl. Logically speaking, a cat should have no chance of winning against such a big snake. But the result was beyond Hisashi's expectation. The cat was extremely flexible and moved very fast. The cat easily dodged every attack from the snake. However, the snake cannot dodge the cat's attack. I saw it leaping into the air, flashing in front of the snake's head, adjusting its body shape, shooting out more than a dozen claws in 1 second, and firing its bow left and right, making a snap sound when it hit the snake's head. By the time the cat landed, the python had already been beaten unconscious. This is no ordinary cat, this is a ninja cat. Hisashi saw Chakra inside the cat. Seeing that Hisashi was looking at it with enthusiasm, Neji was so curious that he rolled his eyes and looked over. Hey, isn't this the pet cat of the Daming Lady? After the Daming Lady died, it should have been taken back to the Daming Mansion by the Daming. Why is it here? It didn't have Chakra before, but now it does. What's going on? Mizuki also showed interest. The name of Mrs. Dai Ming's cat is Xiaohu, if I remember correctly. A ninja cat with Chakra? Well, I remember that the Uchiha clan has a close relationship with the Ninja Cat clan. Why don't you take this cat back and give it to Sasuke? Maybe you can return a useful summoning mon. There are only 3 powerful summoning beasts in the ninja world. But Mizuki doesn't like it. In fact, the beast path in Rinnegan's 6 paths can summon Rinnegan's exclusive summoning beast. Such as chameleons, hellhounds, rhinos, etc. But Mizuki is not interested in those summoning beasts. They are not powerful and cannot compare to the toads of Mount Myoboku. If you want to get the powerful summoning beast, you must either go through the 3 holy places or return it through the system. Compared with the 3 holy places, system returns are uncertain, but the upper limit is definitely higher. Sasuke will probably like this cat. Mizuki raised his hand and shouted, "Universal pull." As soon as he finished speaking, a fat orange with a bow on its head flew out of the forest. It was confused and didn't know why it was flying in the air. The next moment, it fell into Mizuki's hands. Meow. With a shrill roar, the cat's claws scratched Mizuki's handsome face. Be honest with me. Chapter 85. Danzo's idea. Mizuki grabbed the cat by the scruff of the neck. Be honest now. The group continued westward and disappeared into the night. After a while, a python as thick as a bowl emerged from the grass on the roadside. It was the unlucky snake that was bullied by the cat just now. It glanced at the direction Mizuki and others left, then turned and swam towards Konoha. Outside Konoha village, the python stopped and opened its mouth. A dry hand stretched out, then an arm, a head, and a body. This is a toothless old woman in her late 70s, but her pupils are snake-like vertical ones, and she looks very cold-blooded. Finally back. The hoarse voice was highly recognizable. Anyone who has heard this voice will never forget it. Orochimaru. He encountered Mizuki in Kusakanen village and was drained of his life force, leaving him with only 3 hours left to live. He was not in a hurry at that time, he just needed to wait for a suitable person to take his body. But I waited and waited, but no one came. Just when 3 hours were about to pass and his life was about to come to an end, an old woman finally entered the house. Better to die than live. Although Orochimaru disliked the old woman for being too old, in order to avoid death, he could only use the living corpse reincarnation technique on the old woman. At any rate, I can still survive for a few more years. You only need to wait 3 years for the living corpse reincarnation to cool down, and you can regain your youthful body. So, he became what he is now. He glanced westward and murmured. Mizuki actually came to Konoha and took away Hyuga Neji, the genius of the Hyuga family. Doesn't he know that the Hyuga family has curse mark? Caged bird? And the man who covered his face, I seem to hear Hyuga Neji calling his father. Hyuga Hisashi, didn't you die a few years ago? Could it be that Mizuki also mastered the reanimation jutsu? But why did I feel the heat in that person that only a living person can have? Snakes sense heat extremely sensitively and unerringly. This also resulted in Orochimaru being unable to figure it out. He was familiar with impure world reincarnation. People who came out of impure world reincarnation were still dead and their bodies were cold. Hyuga Neji recognized his godfather. Hyuga Hisashi is not dead. Or is Hyuga Hisashi resurrected from the dead? Orochimaru had various guesses in his mind, but they were limited to guesses. He didn't know what the truth was. We must investigate clearly. It's not too late to send people back to the village now. He walked towards the entrance of the village, and at the same time reached out to his face, grabbed the skin and pulled it down, revealing the pale skin underneath. In just a few steps, he transformed from a stooped old woman into a young Orochimaru. Of course, he only looks young on the outside, but in fact, his body is still that of an old woman, old and decayed, and he dare not walk fast. He returned to Konoha and entered the Hokage's office. Danzo came to find him immediately. Orochimaru, as the 5th Hokage, you don't take charge of the overall situation in the village, but you leave the village alone without saying anything. Do you have a sense of responsibility? Advertisement, what will happen to Konoha if something happens to you outside? Orochimaru said coldly. Danzo, you don't need to ask what I do. Danzo was speechless, then changed the subject and accused. Did you know that during the time you left, something big happened in Konoha? Fortunately, it didn't lead to a big mistake, otherwise you would be Konoha's sinner. Orochimaru said calmly, since it didn't lead to a big mistake, it's not a big deal. You. Danzo opened his mouth, but had nothing to say. Okay, if you have something to say, just say it, if nothing else, just get out. Danzo. Mizuki entered the village and took Hyuga Neji away. You immediately ordered Hyuga Heishi to execute Hyuga Neji with a caged bird. In addition, Mizuki also took away an unidentified person. We need to conduct a village-wide investigation to find out the identity of that person. Orochimaru glanced at Danzo and said, Mizuki-kun is not a stupid person. Since he took away Hyuga Neji, it means that he has a way to restrain caged bird. As a genius of the Hyuga family, Hyuga Neji must have the confidence to dare to follow Mizuki openly. So I think that even if Hisashi activates Caged Bird, he may not be able to kill Hyuga Neji. It must be said that Orochimaru responded quickly. Based on Mizuki's actions, he immediately had a guess. What? Restrain Caged Bird? Danzo was shocked and said, this is not possible, this is absolutely not possible. If Mizuki really has a way to restrain Caged Bird, wouldn't all the Hyuga branch houses defect to him? Orochimaru's face was also filled with worry. I care more about another thing than the Hyuga branch house. On my way back to the village just now, I met Mizuki-kun and 3 others. In addition to Mizuki-kun and Hyuga Neji, there was another person who was wearing a bamboo hat and couldn't see his appearance clearly. But I heard, Hyuga Neji called him father. Hearing this, Danzo's eyes suddenly widened. No, Mizuki has also mastered the reanimation jutsu. How did he learn it so quickly? He came to Konoha to enter the cemetery and steal the corpse. Quick, Orochimaru, use Impure World reincarnation summoning on all the strong men who died in the village, and get 1 step ahead of Mizuki, so that his conspiracy cannot succeed. Then he said, I will provide the sacrifice for Impure World reincarnation. Orochimaru shook his head and said, I doubt it's Impure World reincarnation. Danzo frowned and said, what is it if it's not Impure World reincarnation? Just then, there was a knock on the door, and Hyuga Heishi walked into the office. Lord Hokage, what do you want from me? Heishi looked unhappy. He felt that Orochimaru was looking for him to order him to kill Neji with Caged Bird. Neji is his nephew, how could he do it? Heishi, there is something that you need to confirm in person. Heishi was stunned. He didn't kill Neji? Sir Hokage, please speak. Orochimaru said, you should know about Mizuki taking Hyuga Neji away. There is an unidentified person traveling with them. I suspect that he is Hyuga Hisashi. This is impossible. Heishi shouted immediately. But then he thought of something and couldn't help but curse. Damn Mizuki, you actually played with the dead. He shut up mid-sentence, glanced at Orochimaru, and said, sorry, I lost my mind. Orochimaru. Whether it is Impure World reincarnation still needs to be confirmed. You have to go there in person, and I will send Anbu to accompany you to protect you. Advertisement, remember, you can only watch from a distance, never get close. I must know whether Hyuga Hisashi is the body of Impure World reincarnation, or is he really resurrected. Hyuga Heishi set off immediately, accompanied by 3 Anbu for protection. The 4 of them ran as fast as they could and headed west after leaving the village. Heishi also turned on his Byakugan. Soon, Heishi saw 3 people a kilometer away. 2 of them were Mizuki and Neji, and the other one was wearing a bamboo hat. Brother, is it really you? Heishi was a little looking forward to it, and a little nervous at the same time, but no matter what, he wanted to find out the truth of the matter. As a result, Byakugan's vision penetrated the bamboo hat and saw clearly the face under the mask. Heishi shuddered, and his advancing body immediately stopped. It's really him, and he's alive, but how is this possible? Master Heishi, what happened? 3 Anbu stopped and asked Heishi. Heishi couldn't calm down for a long time, his face was full of disbelief. He repeatedly confirmed with his white eyes, and the result was that the person was the living Hyuga Hisashi. The heart is beating, the blood is circulating in the body, and the eyes are not as black as Impure World reincarnation. He sighed and said, go back and see 5th generation. The mission has been completed. 1 kilometer away, Mizuki held the cat in his arms and glanced back without trace. Rinnegan has the attribute of perception. Although Mizuki did not deliberately train his perception ability, he still felt the gaze from behind. The action was pretty fast, but it doesn't matter. Even if Konoha knew that it could resurrect the dead, what could it do? Here, Hyuga Heishi and 3 Anbu returned to Konoha as quickly as possible to meet Orochimaru. Hokage-sama, I have confirmed that that person is my brother Hyuga Hisashi. He took a deep breath and continued, it's alive. Upon hearing this news, Orochimaru's eyes suddenly widened. His long tongue couldn't help but poke out his lips, stir it up in the air, and wash his face by the way. Mizuki-kun, he actually mastered the art of resurrecting the dead. He is indeed someone I admire. Danzo couldn't sit still and said, Orochimaru, at this time, what are you still admiring? Mizuki can resurrect the dead, which is not a good thing for Konoha. He resurrected Hisashi today, thereby taking Neji away. Tomorrow he can resurrect the relatives of other ninjas, and use this as a favor or blackmail to make more people defect to Konoha. He can even resurrect your parents as a threat to you and make you obey his words. You are the Hokage of Konoha and must not be manipulated by others. Orochimaru glanced at Danzo and said, with Mizuki-kun's strength, do you still need to use these to blackmail others? Danzo said anxiously, we must prepare for the worst. He has a grudge against Mizuki, so he doesn't want to see the Phoenix village built by Mizuki grow. Whatever Mizuki wants to do, he tries to trip him up. Orochimaru said, it's useless, we can't stop him. The only thing we can do now is to completely block the news that Mizuki can resurrect the dead, and never let other villagers know about it. Otherwise, the ninjas in the village will take the initiative to defect and go to Phoenix village. By then, Konoha will collapse from within. Danzo didn't give up and said, you can use Impure World reincarnation to summon the dead strong men, and then seal their souls to prevent Mizuki from resurrecting them. Absolutely not, Hyuga Heishi objected immediately. However, Orochimaru became thoughtful. Chapter 86. Something went wrong. Heishi, go back first, Orochimaru ordered. Heishi said anxiously. Hokage-sama, this is not allowed. Orochimaru waved his hand and said, I have my own opinion on this matter. Don't worry, it won't cause unrest in the village. Hyuga Heishi had no choice but to leave. In the office, only Orochimaru and Danzo were left. Orochimaru, what are your plans for this? Danzo asked. Orochimaru said, don't worry, I'm waiting for news. Soon, an Anbu appeared and reported, Master 5th Hokage, the cemetery has been inspected. The surface of the tombs is all intact, but there are 12 tombs. The corpses inside have been touched, and the traces are very fresh. Which 12 seats? Anbu said, in addition to Hyuga Hizashi, there are Senju Nawaki, Kato Dan, 4th Hokage Minato-sama, 4th generation Mrs. Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Izuna, Hitaki Tsukumo, Lin, Yakushi no, Amino Ikaku, and Amino Kairi. When Danzo heard the names, he yelled, damn Mizuki. Nawaki and Dan are close relatives of Tsunade. It is reported that Tsunade has joined Phoenix Village. Mizuki must have used the resurrection of the two as a bargaining chip to attract Tsunade to join. Even Minato and Kushina will not be spared. This is to completely tie Nine Tails Jinchuriki to him. Hitaki Tsukumo is also among them, and he plans to have Kakashi defect as well. And the evil Uchiha clan, Orochimaru, it's time to make a decision, otherwise Konoha will surely fall apart. Orochimaru frowned and asked, Uchiha Izumi and Uchiha Izuna, who are these two people? What's special about them? Danzo said, Uchiha Izumi was Uchiha Itachi's lover. He was killed by Itachi himself on the night of the genocide. As for Uchiha Izuna, the name is somewhat familiar, but I couldn't figure out who it was for a while. Upon hearing the words, Uchiha Itachi, Orochimaru couldn't help but stick out his tongue and lick it. He ordered Anbu, go to the archives immediately and look for Uchiha Izuna's information. So many people in the Uchiha clan died, but Mizuki-kun chose these two alone. Uchiha Izuna is related to Itachi, and Uchiha Izuna is definitely not an ordinary passerby. Soon, Anbu found out the news about Uchiha Izuna in the archives room and reported it to Orochimaru immediately. Uchiha Madara's younger brother? Died at the hands of second Hokage? A person who has been dead for more than 60 years, Mizuki-kun, did you make a mistake? Is this kind of person resurrected and used as an antique? Orochimaru is not Lee. Danzo frowned and thought to himself, is that news true? Is Madara really not dead? But now is not the time to think about this, Danzo urged again. Orochimaru, you can't hesitate any longer. Of course Orochimaru hesitated. He looks young on the surface now, but in fact he is very old and cannot even take big steps when walking. He didn't dare to show it, so he could only pretend to be calm. It would be quite difficult for him to use impure world reincarnation. The serious aging of his body has caused the amount of chakra in his body to be greatly reduced, even less than that of Kakashi. It would be funny if the chakra was exhausted and he died during the impure world reincarnation. Except for Kato Dan, Hitaki Tsukumo, and Minato, the others are not very strong. Even if they are resurrected by Mizuki, it will not be a concern. After all, reanimation jutsu requires sacrifices. I am Hokage now, so I must be cautious in my actions. This evil forbidden technique should be used as little as possible, so as not to arouse the resentment of the villagers. Just choose Dan and Tsukumo, summon their souls, and then seal them. Minato's soul is in Shinigami's belly and cannot be summoned. Danzo said. No, absolutely not. No one can be left to Mizuki, they must all be summoned, and then all sealed. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes and said, Danzo, I hope you understand that I am the Hokage. Advertisement, you. Danzo was furious. Orochimaru's words, I am the Hokage, reminded him of many not-so-good memories. Orochimaru, you will regret it. Danzo left angrily. Looking at Danzo's leaving back, Orochimaru remained unmoved and even snorted. Old man, you still want to point fingers at me? Do you think I'm just like the third-generation old man and letting you do whatever you want? He ordered Anbu, go to the prison, pick 2 death row inmates, and bring them to the basement of the Hokage building. Let's talk about Mizuki and his party of 3. Neji chose the important things that happened in the village and the Hyuga clan in recent years and told them to Hizashi. Seeing that the father and son had finished talking and their family relationship was getting closer, Mizuki took off with the 2 of them and rushed back as quickly as possible. Halfway through, Mizuki looked at the attribute table. Reviving Hizashi, my chakra consumed 10 calories and my lifespan was reduced by 180 years. The old lady who was resurrected in the Kingdom of Birds before, chakra also consumed 10 calories, and her lifespan was reduced by 120 years. Chakra consumption is 10 Kakashi, but the consumption of life force is different. As for the law of life force consumption, Mizuki also has some guesses. When I resurrected the old lady, I also gave her an additional 20 years of life. The final consumption totaled 120 years. In other words, simply resurrecting her would only require 100 years of life force. As for Hizashi, he died about 8 years ago. Does that mean that for every additional year of death, his resurrection will cost an additional 10 years of life? These are just Mizuki's guesses. Whether they are correct or not needs to be verified later. Of course, he still had other questions. For example, resurrecting the dead consumes so much vitality. How did Nagato manage to resurrect all the people of Konoha village? These doubts can only be verified later. With 2 people in tow, their flight speed was somewhat affected, but 3 hours later, they returned to Phoenix Village in the country of birds. The father and son Hizashi and Neji were introduced to everyone. Neji took off the Konoha forehead protector. After the father and son put on the Phoenix Village forehead protector, they officially became people of the Phoenix Village. The population size of Fenghuang Village has expanded again. The forehead protector from Fenghuang Village has a simple yin and yang diagram, which is highly recognizable. Hizashi, Neji, Phoenix Village has just been built. There are many vacant houses. You can choose the houses in the residential area at will. You can solve the problems of daily living, cleaning and food by yourself, or you can hire people from the bird country to solve it for you. I will reimburse all the expenses. After making arrangements, Mizuki asked everyone to disperse, leaving Tsunade, Shizune, and Naruto behind. Master, can my father and mother really be resurrected? Naruto felt very nervous. Mizuki said, your father, Namikaze Minato, I am not sure whether he can be resurrected, but your mother is fine. Let's start with your mother. Mizuki took out a red hair, which was Kushina's hair. Heretic. Rinne Tensai technique. The dazzling green light covered her hair, and even Tsunade couldn't see clearly what was inside the green light. The life force in Mizuki's body quickly dissipated. Naruto's face was filled with anticipation, his eyes staring at the green light without blinking. Finally, the green light disappeared, and a red-haired woman in white clothes and black skirt appeared in the field. She looked around with a blank expression, and when she saw Tsunade, she frowned, seeming to realize something. When she saw Naruto, her eyes froze. Are you, Naruto? Naruto? Hearing this gentle voice, Naruto's tears couldn't stop flowing out. Mizuki waved his hands towards Tsunade and Shizune and said, let's go out first and leave this place to them. The 3 of them walked out of this room and entered another room. Advertisement. Mizuki looks at the attribute table. The chakra consumes another 10 Kakashi, and the lifespan is reduced by 220 years. His guess seems to be correct. Resurrecting a recently deceased person consumes 100 years of life. For every additional year of death of the resurrected person, the lifespan consumed by the resurrection will be 10 more years. Kushina died when Naruto was born, 12 years ago, and resurrected her, saying that Muto had consumed 120 years of life force. Including the basic consumption of 100 years, it is exactly 220 years. Nawaki or Dan, who do you choose first? Mizuki asked. Tsunade's voice trembled slightly as he asked, can we be resurrected together? I want to see them both appear in front of me at the same time. Mizuki said, I think it's better to do it one by one. When 2 of them appear together, who do you want to talk to first? Tsunade nodded and said, then, let's resurrect Dan first. After all, Dan is also Shizune's uncle. Mizuki nodded, took out the broken hair and placed it on the ground. Rinne Tensai technique is at work again, but the result surprised all 3 people present. The green light did not appear. How could this happen? Tsunade bit her lip and asked unwillingly. Mizuki was full of doubts because he felt that the chakra and life force in his body were decreasing. This shows that Rinne Tensai technique works. What went wrong? Meanwhile, Konoha Village, Hokage building basement. A humanoid sealed object wrapped in bandages and turned into a mummy, with its surface covered with sealing techniques, suddenly burst into green light. When the green light dissipates, the seal is automatically lifted and the bandage is untied, revealing the person inside. Live people. Orochimaru on the side looked at the resurrected Kato Dan with wide eyes. What kind of underworld ninjutsu is this? Can it be resurrected even after being sealed? At this time, Kato Dan asked, Orochimaru, what on earth are you doing? You used impure world reincarnation to summon me to the Yang world, sealed me, and now released me. What on earth are you doing? Quickly lift the impure world reincarnation and let me return to the pure land. Orochimaru said, Kato-kun, don't you feel that your body is no longer the body of the impure world reincarnation? The beating of the heart, the breathing in the nasal cavity, the flow of blood, I can all feel it clearly. You have been resurrected. By some mistake, Kato Dan was resurrected in Konoha, which Mizuki did not expect. He is still wondering which part of the process went wrong. Mizuki, what's going on? Why isn't Sue resurrected? Mizuki shook his head and said, I don't know. My Rinne Tensai technique has taken effect and my chakra and life force have been consumed. Logically speaking, I should be resurrected. What I want is not a should, but a certainty. Mizuki couldn't give an answer. Don't get excited, Kato Dan will never be resurrected, and Nawaki. That being said, he was a little worried now. Nawaki won't and can't be resurrected. Chapter 87. The system returns 10,000 mothers with trepidation. Mizuki began to resurrect Nawaki. This casting did not disappoint, a green light appeared. Tsunade pursed her lips, she was filled with excitement and her eyes were fixed on the green light. When the green light dissipated, a kid with a blush on his face and brown hair who looked similar to Naruto appeared. Elder sister. With a familiar shout, Tsunade couldn't bear it any longer. The next moment, she was holding Nawaki in her arms, her shoulders were shaking violently, and her cries could no longer be suppressed. Seeing the reunion between siblings, Shizune was moved to tears. Having followed Tsunade for more than 20 years, she knew clearly how much Tsunade missed his younger brother. Tsunade-sama. Hey, Dudu was also very happy. A smile appeared on Mizuki's lips. There was no accident this time. But the failure to resurrect Kato-dan always left him with a knot in his throat. What is going on? Is Kato-dan's soul in Shinigami's belly? What the facts are will need to be confirmed later. In the room, Tsunade and Nawaki were reminiscing about old times. The two siblings had endless things to say, and the others walked out wisely. In another room, Kushina was recounting her past experiences. Talk about how she came to Konoha from Uzushio village, how she became Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and how she beat up those classmates who were mean-mouthed. It tells the story of her first meeting with Namikaze Minato, their acquaintance under the moonlight, and then their love and marriage. Let's talk about the origin of Naruto's name and the Nine-Tails Rebellion on the day he was born. Naruto listened carefully, like other children, listening to his mother's stories. He remembered every word of Kushina's words. The experiences of the elders always have a special attraction, which can make children calm down and listen carefully. Naruto, I've finished telling my mother's experience. Isn't it very monotonous and nothing outstanding? No, it's not monotonous at all, it's exciting, Naruto said happily. Kushina also smiled and reached out to touch Naruto's head like a dog's head. Although her son is over 12 years old, she has never experienced how to get along with him, so the way she touches his head is a bit strange. Naruto didn't care about this, because he had never experienced the feeling of being touched by his mother. What kind of person is Dad? Kushina smiled and said, what do you think? Naruto said excitedly. I heard that he was a kind and great man. After all, he sacrificed himself to save Mew, that village. He's also a very smart guy, like me, otherwise he wouldn't be the fourth Hokage. He is very handsome, otherwise my mother, who is so beautiful and gentle, would definitely not like him. And there's more. Mother and son seem to have endless things to say. Mizuki came to the door and listened to them chatting happily, so he turned and left without disturbing them. At this moment, the system sound suddenly sounded. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Host grants 1 to disciple Uzumaki Naruto's mother, triggering a 10,000 times return. Close black lens bracket. Host received 10,000 moms. Do you want to claim it? Close black lens bracket. Mizuki. Does it look like there is a cat cake? 10,000 mothers, why not 10,000 fathers? System. Whose mother is it? Naruto's or mine? If it's my mother, is it from the ninja world or the original world? The system replied. This return is to Naruto's mother. Depend on, if you don't take it, you definitely won't take it. Advertisement Naruto's dear mother, it's none of my business. This is a rubbish system. It's a waste of my once chance to get a refund, and it's 10,000 times more. Feeling distressed. But then again, you can get it back if you give it away. Then what will happen if I give Sasuke a Naruto? Will it be returned to tens of thousands of Naruto? If 9 tails, will it also become thousands or tens of thousands? Mizuki narrowed his eyes and felt that it was very exciting. By the way, the system, when giving living creatures to apprentices, must the return be in quantity? Isn't it in quality? A return in quantity is definitely not as good as a return in quality. For example, if you give a bowl of ramen as a gift, you will receive 1,000-fold return. Returning 1,000 bowls of ramen would be of no use to Mizuki. This is a return in quantity. And if the quality is returned, a bowl of chakra noodles with added chakra will be of great use. The system replied. If the granted object has a more advanced form, it will be returned based on the superimposed quality. Close black lens bracket. If there is no more advanced form, it will be returned according to the quantity. Close black lens bracket. So that's it, Mizuki understood. Give Naruto a mother, Kushina. The concept of mother does not have a more advanced form, so if the amount is returned, it cannot be doubled to the grandmother. But suddenly he thought of something. That's not right. I gave Nobita a bowl of instant ramen before and got 61 times the refund after departure. Why did I get 61 bowls of instant ramen and not the more advanced chakra noodles? System. 61 times. If it is returned based on quality, it cannot meet the minimum standard of higher level ramen, so we can only settle for the second best and return it based on quantity. Close black lens bracket. Alright. This means that the multiples are too low, and even if they are superimposed together, there will be no qualitative change. Naruto, all 3 of the return opportunities this month have been used up. Sasuke has 1 left, and Nobita has 2 left. We need to plan carefully. The fat orange I brought back was intended to be given to Sasuke, but not now. For some unknown reason, this cat has chakra appearing in its body and seems to be still cultivating it instinctively. Compared with before, its power and speed have been greatly enhanced. Mizuki plans to wait until the cat becomes stronger before giving it away. In this case, the returned items will be of higher quality. I gave Sasuke reanimation jutsu before, and the one that best matches Impure World reincarnation is tandem paper bombs. Well, no, Sasuke can't master such a powerful suicidal technique, so I'd better use another one. Urzuzi always feels that he is very good and too arrogant. If he really learns tandem paper bombs, maybe he will rush up and throw the detonating talisman himself before Impure World reincarnation, and feel safe while throwing back. Then he successfully blew himself up, Wait until his chakra control increases and he learns how to change his body. What should I give you? Suddenly, he slapped his thigh with his hand and said, how could I forget this? Kushina has been resurrected. Wouldn't it be nice to ask her to help extract the one tail from Gaara's body and seal it into Sasuke's body? Originally, he planned to wait until he learned the 4 elephants seal before making plans for one tail. But now with Kushina, there's no need to bother. Minato's sealing techniques were all taught by Kushina, which means that Kushina is definitely the master in sealing techniques. She took action, and the little one-tail Shukaku didn't just obediently appoint him. After the mother and son finish talking in 2 days, I will go to her for help. Next, Nobita is left. Although he has poor qualifications, he is still his apprentice. He came to the Bird Kingdom with him and must be taught well. Best of all, he can also be promoted to Chunin in next year's Chunin exam. Mizuki found Nobita. It's almost midnight, and this kid is still practicing shuriken throwing in the woods. A tree 30 meters away was filled with shurikens, and more shurikens were scattered on the ground. It can be seen that he works very hard. Compared to when he was in Konoha, Nobita's body had grown taller and stronger. In the past, in the orphanage, we only had enough food and clothing. When we arrived in the land of birds, Mizuki had abundant funds and the food was of the highest standard. Advertisement children are growing up, and their bodies will grow very quickly if they have adequate nutrition. To improve your strength, let's start with Chuck. As for the result, it all depends on your own character. Mizuki walked out of the forest. Nobita, master, why are you here? Mizuki smiled and said, it's so late and you are still practicing, let me come to see you. Cultivation also pays attention to the balance between work and rest. If you practice like this, it will easily damage your body. It is better to rest early in the future. Nobita lowered his head and said, they are all very strong, but I can't even release the basic free body technique, so I have to work harder. Mizuki patted him on the shoulder and said, listen to me, practicing like this will have the opposite effect. You must stop before 8 o'clock and go home to take a shower and sleep. That's it for today. You've been practicing for so long and you're probably hungry. Come on, I'll invite you to my house for ramen. Taking Nobita home, Mizuki took out the bucket of instant ramen, boiled water and made 2 bowls. 1 bowl for me and 1 bowl for Nobita. During Chunin's exam, Mizuki visited major stores in Konoha, and of course Ichiraku Ramen also visited. He emptied all the instant hot bucket ramen prepared by hand. Come on, your tonkatsu ramen is ready, eat it quickly. When the lid was opened, Nobita sniffed and said with a face full of intoxication, wow, it smells so good. At this time, the voice of the system was already ringing in Mizuki's mind. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket, host grants disciple Nobita a bottle of instant hot ramen, triggering in 999 times return. Close black lens bracket. Host gets a portion of barreled instant chakra noodles. After eating, 1 Kakashi chakra will be added. Close black lens bracket. Mizuki's eyes lit up and he thought to himself that this kid is pretty lucky. The bucket of noodles was quickly eaten by Nobita and he started drinking soup. You look like you're not full yet, it's okay, I'll make you another one. Nobita said, Master, no need, I'm full, and it's not good to eat too much before going to bed. Mizuki said, there is nothing wrong with it. Children are growing up, so it is good to eat more. He took out the ramen that the system had just returned, brewed it with boiling water, and placed it in front of Nobita. 5 minutes later, the noodles are ready. Eat quickly. For the sake of his disciple's strength, he is no longer afraid of exposing something. Nobita picked up the chopsticks and started eating. He didn't feel it yet after taking the first bite. But when he was about to take a second bite, his expression suddenly changed. Master, my chakra seems to be increasing. Mizuki smiled. It's okay, I know. The bucket of noodles just now was used as a base for you. This bucket of noodles is different. I added a secret medicine in it. If you eat it, it can increase the capacity of chakra. Eat quickly, finish the noodles, don't waste it. The system cannot be exposed, we can only lie to him and say it is a secret medicine. Children are still easy to deceive. When the bucket of noodles is finished, Nobita's chakra increases by 1 Kakashi. In addition, he has some chakra himself, so his current chakra amount has exceeded Kakashi. Now, your chakra level has reached Elite Jonin level. Elite Jonin. Although Nobita is a child, he also knows what Elite Jonin is. Master, is this true? He was experienced, but more excited. Mizuki nodded. It's true, but don't make this matter public. That secret medicine is very precious. I spent a lot of effort to prepare a copy. Because you have the worst strength, I used it on you, others don't have it. Nobita nodded and said, Master, I know that I will never tell anyone until I die. Mizuki patted Nobita's head. Such an honest boy, how upright. Chapter 88. Danzo passes the blame to Mizuki after seeing Nobita off. A moment later there was a knock on the door. Mizuki opened the door and saw Sasuke standing outside. Sasuke, you're still not resting at this late hour, what do you want from me? Urzuzi seemed a little excited. Master, is that red-haired woman really Naruto's mother? Naruto said that you resurrected his mother. Mizuki nodded and said, yes, it is exactly what Naruto said. After getting the accurate answer, Sasuke couldn't bear it any longer. Master, can you resurrect my father and mother too? As long as you help me, I will do anything you ask me to do. Mizuki sighed and said, not yet. Why? Sasuke is not Sister Lee. Mizuki explained. You should have studied reanimation jutsu. Summoning the soul of the deceased from the Pure Land to the ninja world requires a medium, which is the life substance of the deceased. Similarly, using Rinne Tensai technique to resurrect the dead also requires living matter as a medium. This time I went to Konoha. Although I found your parents' graves in the cemetery, they were empty and there were no bodies. What? Sasuke's expression changed drastically, and then he became angry. Damn Konoha, damn Danzo, damn third generation, damn them all. You actually desecrated the corpses of my parents. I will kill Danzo with my own hands, destroy Konoha, and then reincarnate Danzo in the third generation impure world, and torture him with the most cruel methods until the day I die. No, it's not enough. We have to dig out all their parents and children and torture them, making them moan in pain day and night. The second pillar was boiling with rage, the three Magatama in his eyes were turning wildly, and the whole person was almost crazy. On the night of the Uchiha genocide, Fugaku's eyes were probably taken away or destroyed by Itachi. Itachi knew that his father's eyes were also Mangekyo and would never be left to Danzo, nor to Obito. As for the bodies of the Fugaku couple, they were most likely taken away by Danzo to be used as experimental materials. Not only the Fugaku couple, but also the bodies of many Uchiha masters are not in Konoha cemetery. Don't worry. When your strength increases, go to Konoha and find your parents' bodies, and then you can resurrect them. Sasuke nodded, calming down. Also, I want to tell you that when the Uchiha clan was destroyed, there was one other person besides Itachi. After hearing Mizuki's words, Sasuke's calm mood immediately became excited again. Who is that person? Mizuki didn't hide anything and said directly, Uchiha, Obito. Hearing the name, Sasuke frowned, without any impression in his memory. Uchiha Obito, is he also a member of the Uchiha clan? Why haven't I heard of him? Mizuki said. You really haven't heard of it, because Uchiha Obito died before you were born. No, everyone thought he was dead. In other words, this Uchiha Obito faked his death. The anger in Sasuke's eyes deepened, and one more name was added to the list of enemies. Master Mizuki, please tell me who this Obito is. Mizuki simply said, Uchiha Obito, a disciple of the fourth Hokage, Kakashi's companion. By the way, Kakashi's Sharingan was given to him by Obito before he died. But everyone in Konoha doesn't know that Obito is not dead, he was saved. Besides Obito and Kakashi, there is a girl named Lin among the disciples of the fourth Hokage. Obito liked Lin, but under a certain conspiracy, Lin died at the hands of Kakashi. Advertisement, as a result, Obito hated Konoha madly. It was Obito who started the Nine Tails Rebellion 12 years ago. Obito also participated in the Uchiha genocide 4 years ago, killing everyone in the police force. At this point, Sasuke had a preliminary understanding of Obito. But he felt that these were not enough. What are his characteristics? When asked this question, the killing intent in Sasuke's eyes was almost undisguised. Mizuki said, he wears the clothes of the Akatsuki organization and wears an orange one-eyed mask all year round. Sasuke looked at Mizuki and begged, can you please not tell Naruto about Obito launching the Nine Tails Rebellion? Why? Mizuki was curious. Sasuke said, I don't want Naruto to kill him before I can. Mizuki was speechless. Is Obito that easy to kill? Don't be impulsive. Obito masters space ninjutsu and is very difficult to kill. What you have to do now is to practice hard. Only when you are strong can you have a chance for revenge. Sasuke asked. When I learn how to apparate, can I kill him? No. Mizuki shook his head. Sasuke frowned and asked, what exactly is his space ninjutsu? Mizuki didn't say it clearly, only said, you will understand when you see it. It is useless to know too much now. It will make you despair. Sasuke left with his heart full of thoughts, and looking at his back, he seemed a little unconvinced. Don't be too arrogant, it's not that easy to kill Obito. Well, it seems like there's no chance. Conan's 600 billion detonating charms almost killed Obito. Obito's Kamui has a shortcoming. The hollow in the body lasts up to 5 minutes, and when it absorbs objects or enters a different space, the body will materialize. Sister Nan was well prepared, and the 600 billion detonating symbols continued to explode for 10 minutes. It's outrageous when you think about it, 600 billion pictures, 1 billion pictures exploded every second. It can be said that the energy is completely overflowing, and to put it bluntly, it is a waste of money. But the power was really strong, and it came from all directions. Obito had no way to escape. If it weren't for Izanagi, he would have had to meet Uchiha Madara at that time. Sasuke can also do an explosion that lasts for 10 minutes. All he needs to do is learn tandem paper bombs and prepare enough detonating charms. Tandem paper bombs use detonators to summon detonators, like dominoes. As long as there are enough detonating symbols, they will continue to be summoned and exploded. Prepare enough detonating symbols, not to mention blowing them up for 10 minutes, but for 10 days. Let's talk about it later. Mizuki, the only one left at home, attempts to resurrect Minato. As a result, Rinne Tensai technique failed again. But one thing Mizuki didn't expect was that Minato's chakra and life force were not consumed at all this time. The situation is completely different from when Kato Dan was resurrected. After such a comparison, Mizuki immediately realized that there was something wrong. What's the problem? Is there someone doing something wrong? Mizuki narrowed his eyes. Kato Dan's resurrection process feels like someone has cut it off. Whether someone is doing something wrong or not, I will know when I go to Konoha to verify it. At this time, Fire Nation, Konoha Village, Hokage Office. Orochimaru, Danzo, and Kato Dan are all here. Orochimaru, can you tell me now about Tsunade? Is she alive or dead? Kato Dan asked. Advertisement. Orochimaru said, Tsunade, she is still alive. Suan breathed a sigh of relief and said, it's good to be alive. I didn't expect that after more than 20 years of death, I would still have a chance to meet Tsunade again. Danzo sneered and said, although you are resurrected, unfortunately, you may not be able to get together with Tsunade. Duan frowned and asked, why do you say that? Danzo said, Tsunade has defected to Konoha and joined a village founded by another Konoha trader, Phoenix Village. Tsunade defected? Phoenix Village? This is absolutely impossible, Duan denied. Nothing is impossible, it is the fact. The Phoenix Village was founded in the Kingdom of Birds by Mizuki, the rebel ninja of Konoha. Mizuki also proclaimed himself first-generation Hokage. Not only Tsunade has joined Phoenix Village, but also your niece Shizune. Nine-Tails Jinchuriki and the orphan Uchiha are also in Phoenix Village. Konoha's wealth is almost wiped out by Mizuki. Dan still shook his head, feeling that Danzo's words were not credible. I know Tsunade's love for Konoha best. This is the village founded by her grandfather and the sustenance of her heart. There is no way she can betray Konoha. By this time, Danzo had begun to doubt Orochimaru and Danzo. Danzo was definitely aware of his dark ways, even before he died. Orochimaru is no longer the same person in his memory. Using the evil technique of impure world reincarnation to summon him from the pure land to the ninja world undoubtedly reminded him that Orochimaru is different from before. He now has some suspicion that Tsunade was forced to defect by Orochimaru and Danzo. Danzo and Orochimaru looked at each other and then said, of course Tsunade loves Konoha, her betrayal of Konoha was not her intention. It's not your intention. What do you mean? Duan became more and more confused. Danzo said, this matter starts with the genius of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Shisui. In Danzo's narration, Shisui activated Mangekyo and awakened the most powerful illusion, distinguished heavenly gods, but was killed by Mizuki in a sneak attack and had the Sharingan taken away. He also said that on the eve of this year's Chunin exam, Mizuki's conspiracy was discovered by the third generation. So the third generation devised a plan to collapse Konoha and acted in conjunction with the fourth Kazekage. In fact, it was to ambush and kill Mizuki. Unfortunately, Mizuki was too powerful, and the third Hokage and the fourth Kazekage were killed in counterattack. All in all, it's just passing the blame. In other words, the ninja named Mizuki used distinguished heavenly gods to modify the will of Tsunade and Shizune, making them join the Phoenix Village against their original intentions? Danzo and Orochimaru nodded in unison. Good, even if you can be resurrected, it's his conspiracy. He wants to resurrect you in Phoenix Village, and then use distinguished heavenly gods to control you and serve him. We were aware of his conspiracy, so he used impure world reincarnation to summon you. As expected, he cast a resurrection spell on you. Because your soul is in Konoha, you were resurrected in Konoha and successfully shattered his conspiracy. This statement was reasonable and well-founded. Although Kato Dan was still a little confused, he gradually believed what Danzo and Orochimaru said. Duan said, where is Phoenix Village in the Kingdom of Birds? Danzo asked. Don't be impulsive. Mizuki is extremely powerful. Even the 3 Kage-level masters combined are no match for him. If you go, you will die. Duan said. I will not go over with my body, but use the spiritual technique to go over and possess him and kill him. Danzo and Orochimaru were laughing in their hearts. This was what they were waiting for. It's okay if you can spiritualize technique. Danzo took out the map and marked the location of Phoenix Village. Killing Mizuki, the distinguished heavenly gods will not be lifted, and the modified will not be restored. But as long as Mizuki dies, with your and Tsunade's feelings and a little guidance, Tsunade and Shizune will naturally return to Konoha. Remember, don't go see Tsunade first, otherwise you will be exposed. If Mizuki is prepared, there may be an accident. When Mizuki dies and you see Tsunade, don't believe her words because her will has been modified by the distinguished heavenly gods. Ban, the future of Konoha depends entirely on you. Chapter 89. Thousands of miles to die. Kato Dan sat cross-legged on the ground, took a deep breath and held it in his lungs, then his soul left his body and headed straight to the bird country, reaching the ultimate speed. The soulless body looked like a dead person, and its breathing stopped immediately. Ordinary people will fall into coma after 2 to 3 minutes of suffocation, and will become brain dead after 6 minutes of suffocation. After suffocation and coma, brain cells will be irreparably damaged due to lack of oxygen. Kato Dan specially trained to hold his breath in order to extend the time of the spiritual technique. The oxygen capacity of his lungs is much stronger than that of ordinary people. The time for suffocation, coma and death is several times longer than that of ordinary people. It takes about 20 minutes to become comatose and 30 minutes to become brain dead. Therefore, every time he performs the spiritualization technique, it must be completed within 20 minutes, otherwise the brain cells will be damaged. If there is no reply within 30 minutes, you will die. Although the spiritualization technique is powerful, it still has great limitations. In the office, only Orochimaru and Danzo were left. I saw Danzo's crutch hitting the floor, making a crisp sound. The next moment, a root appeared, bringing with it a death row prisoner. Orochimaru frowned and asked, Danzo, what do you mean? Danzo said, Orochimaru, the lie will be exposed sooner or later. When Orochimaru knows the truth, he will definitely break away from us, and maybe he will go wandering with Tsunade. The spiritualization technique is a big killer and must be used by Konoha. So, use Impure World Reincarnation summoning Shisui. Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods is a very useful tool. After speaking, Danzo took out a glass bottle with an eyeball suspended in the formalin solution. Although Hiruzen is hesitant in doing things, he did a good job in this matter. Danzo looked at the eyeballs in the bottle and smiled. Orochimaru said speechlessly, how many clones did the old man make? Danzo said, time was tight at that time. Shisui cloned 12 eyes and used them once on 4th Kazekage and 4 times on Mizuki. Unfortunately, Rinnegan was too powerful and Hiruzen failed. There are 7 left, which is enough for now. If there are not enough in the future, they can be cloned at any time. Orochimaru said calmly, I am not him. My Impure World Reincarnation has been improved. People who come out of summoning can stay in the ninja world for a long time and will not be automatically released after casting a jutsu. Danzo shook his head and said, no, that's useless. Every time Distinguished Heavenly Gods is used once, the next use will have to wait 10 years. The best way is to remove Shisui's Impure World Reincarnation after using Distinguished Heavenly Gods once, and then summoning it out again. Reborn from the dirty soil, Distinguished Heavenly God's pupil power has been restored, and there is no need to wait for 10 years. Orochimaru. He is a pervert, but now he feels that he is not pervert enough. Even the dead will be used to the ultimate, and there will be no one left. Danzo urged. Start quickly, we'll be back after a while. Orochimaru spread his hands and said, sorry, the use of Impure World Reincarnation is not casual. It can be used up to 2 times per month. Shoden and Tsukumo were summoned. If you want to use them again, you have to wait until next month. Danzo narrowed his eyes and said, it can only be used twice a month. Orochimaru, do you think I have never seen Impure World Reincarnation? The 3rd generation can be used 4 times in a short period of time. After you improved it, it became weaker. He always felt that Orochimaru went to the grass ninja village and was a little passive when he came back. Orochimaru said calmly, the one used by 3rd generation is the original version. Although it can be used multiple times in a short period of time, it has great limitations. People who are summoned from the dirty land can only last for 1 minute. Although the one I improved can only be used twice a month, people who come out of summoning can continue it forever. Orochimaru talks nonsense, but what he says seems to be true. In fact, there is no such restriction, it is just his excuse. Really, this body is in such bad shape that it can't bear the torment at all. After using Impure World Reincarnation for the first 2 times, 80% of the chakra in the body was directly consumed. The meridians in the body were aching, and the bones in the whole body were also a little sore. Now Danzo wants him to summon Shisui again, but this is not to kill him. Therefore, I absolutely cannot agree. Danzo looked at Orochimaru and asked, is this really true? Orochimaru also stared at Danzo and said expressionlessly, are you questioning me? The two looked at each other crazily. Advertisement. The atmosphere in the office suddenly became subtle, and there seemed to be lightning crackling in the air. In the end, Danzo couldn't hold it anymore, his momentum weakened, and he was defeated. Since the improved Impure World Reincarnation cannot be used, let's use the old version. It's disposable anyway. Danzo settled for the next best thing. Orochimaru smiled lightly and said, in the old version, summoning lasts for up to 1 minute, and will be automatically cancelled immediately after 1 minute. I don't know when Suan will come back. If summoning is early, it will be a waste of a death row prisoner and an eye of Shisui. Let's wait until Dan comes back before we dig Shisui out. While speaking, Orochimaru leaned back, and his hands that were originally on the desk went under the desk. The next moment, there was a Bing Liang pill in his right hand. Then, he pretended to be sleepy and yawned, patted his mouth with his hand, and took the Bing Liang pill into his mouth. Chakra begins to recover. At this time, Danzo suddenly sighed and said, I can only do it twice a month. The efficiency is really low. How about this, you teach me the improved Impure World Reincarnation. In this way, the 2 of us together can defile Shisui 4 times a month. Distinguished Heavenly Gods 4 times a month, it won't take long before everyone in Phoenix Village except Mizuki will be able to change their will. Phoenix Village cannot be allowed to continue to grow, otherwise all 5 major countries will be threatened. I'm not coveting this skill, I'm afraid of long nights and dreams. Orochimaru looked at Danzo with a half smile, laughing in his heart. What a rubbish excuse you are looking for, you are clearly coveting Impure World Reincarnation. Old guy, if you want to learn Impure World Reincarnation, you might as well be realistic and think nonsense. What, can't you? Danzo didn't give up. Orochimaru said, nonsense, of course not. I spent several years improving it. Why should I let you learn it? I am Hokage, but I am not your teacher. You. Danzo was so angry that he wanted to curse, but held himself back. He suddenly regretted supporting Orochimaru to ascend to the position of Hokage. This damn cold-blooded animal is even harder to deal with than Hiruzen. Hateful. If I had known that Jiraiya hadn't brought Tsunade back, I should have been the Hokage myself. Miscalculation. Over the ninja world, an invisible light flashed in the sky, reaching the ultimate speed, entering the country of rain from the country of fire, and then to the country of birds, heading straight to Phoenix Village. It is Kato Dan in the state of Soul. It only took him half a minute to cross half of the shinobi world, from Konoha Village to Phoenix Village. When he reached the sky above Phoenix Village, he glanced around. In his soul state, no tangible material could obstruct his vision. He could see who was inside the house and what was going on. At first glance, he saw Tsunade and then Nawaki, and he wanted to go down and say hello right away, but held back. There weren't many ninjas in the village, so he soon found Mizuki. Before departure, Danzo told him Mizuki's physical characteristics in detail. At this time, Mizuki, who was studying the invincible flying thunder god technique in the room, suddenly frowned. This smell is very weird, besides, it came directly to me. The next moment, he felt something entering the house, but he didn't see anything out of the corner of his eye. Invisible? Transparent? No, it came directly through the roof. It doesn't seem to be a living thing. The next moment, he turned on the Rinnegan, and then he saw a person floating down from above and floating towards his body. The human path, one of the Rinnegan's 6 paths, can extract the souls of others, and naturally it can also see the souls. At this time, Kato Dan has come behind Mizuki and is approaching Mizuki's body, preparing to possess him and kill him. But at the next moment, Mizuki suddenly turned around, raised his hand and put it on Kato Dan's head. What? Kato Dan was confused. Advertisement: I am in a soul state, why can he see me? And I don't have a physical body, so why can he catch me? What exactly is going on? If I'm not mistaken, you are Kato Dan. I'm curious, did I offend you in any way? You actually used the spiritualization technique to kill me. Kato Dan said solemnly. Mizuki, you defected to Konoha and took Nine Tails Jinchuriki away. This is a capital crime. Mizuki said calmly. I spent chakra in my life to resurrect you. Is this how you repay me? Kato Dan. You used distinguished heavenly gods to control Tsunade and Shizune, don't think I don't know. You resurrected me just to control me with distinguished heavenly gods. Give up. I am born as a Konoha person and die as a Konoha ghost. I will never join your Phoenix Village. Mizuki. What distinguished heavenly gods? You may have been deceived by Danzo. The reason Tsunade joined Phoenix Village is because I resurrected Nawaki and you, not distinguished heavenly gods. Kato Dan said. Do you think I will believe you? I really didn't lie to you, Kato Dan said. You were born in Konoha, grew up under the protection of the Hokage, and then defected when you grew up. People like you have no kindness at all. I will not believe your words. Mizuki snorted and narrowed his eyes. Now that he said that, he didn't have any other ideas. Anyway, Nawaki has been resurrected, and Tsunade is joining Phoenix Village as a foregone conclusion, so it doesn't matter if you have one more and you have one less. If you don't believe me, I won't force you, but I resurrected you and you came to kill me. I won't treat it like it didn't happen. So, you'd better go back to the Pure Land. The next moment, Yama appeared behind Mizuki, stretched out his tongue to wrap around the broken soul, and pulled it into his mouth. Kato Dan, who was just resurrected, is dead again. HMPH, Danzo and Orochimaru were very good at driving a wedge between each other. In that case, don't blame me for emptying Konoha's family fortune. Next, Kakashi, Konoha Village, Hokage office, Orochimaru and Danzo said nothing. Time passed by minute, 10 minutes passed, and there was no movement in Kato Dan's body. Danzo was a little anxious and stood up and walked around. Orochimaru didn't panic at all, but comforted him. Don't worry, Mizuki should be dead by now, and Sudan should be reminiscing with Tsunade now. They're lovers after all, and they haven't seen each other for so many years. 15 minutes passed and still no movement. 16, 17, 18, 19. It's almost 20 minutes, and now not only Danzo is anxious, but Orochimaru is also not calm anymore. Soon 20 minutes passed, and Duan's body began to twitch, his face turned red, and the oxygen stored in his body had bottomed out. Brain cells begin to be damaged due to lack of oxygen. Danzo shouted. Quick, oxygen. A root ducked into the room and an oxygen mask was placed on Kato Dan's face. Why haven't you come back yet? Danzo was anxious, but he had no choice but to be anxious. When the time came to 25 minutes, the oxygen was no longer working, the broken body stopped moving, and the complexion began to turn from red to pale. Danzo-sama, it can't be done, there is no other choice but to give up treatment. 30 minutes passed and Kato Dan still didn't wake up. What the hell is going on? Danzo and Orochimaru looked extremely ugly. Especially Orochimaru, whose face was already pale, but now he's on par with Kato Dan on the ground. Chapter 90. When the mood comes, let's play some tricks. How could Dan die? He is in a state of soul and cannot be harmed by any harm from the material world. All ninjutsu, taijutsu and illusions are ineffective. Orochimaru couldn't understand. Danzo's face was gloomy and he said, I know what's going on. When 4th generation sealed 9 tails, they used a technique called Ghoul Seal. It sealed the enemy's soul into the Shinigami's body, and as a price, his own soul would also be taken away by the Shinigami. This is the only soul targeting technique that I know of, other than the spiritualization technique. Orochimaru asked. You mean, Mizuki learned how to seal off the corpses and died together with Duan? Not bad. Danzo nodded. Ghoul seal comes from the Uzumaki clan and is recorded in the Book of Sealings. Mizuki stole the Book of Sealings. He has the conditions to learn this technique. Orochimaru frowned. He felt that things might not be that simple. Whether it's the corpses that have been sealed away or not, let's confirm it first. Orochimaru ordered. Immediately pass the message to the spies of the bird country and confirm Mizuki's life and death as quickly as possible. Danzo looked at the broken body on the ground and said, wait a minute. Don't bother me. Just use the old version of reanimation jutsu and summoning to ask what happened. You'll understand everything. At this time, Orochimaru had filled up his chakra with the help of the soldier food pill. Okay, let's summoning again. They arrived at the basement of the Hokage building, where the death row inmate was kneeling on the ground in a daze. Orochimaru took out a scroll and placed it on the ground. After unfolding it, you can clearly see the complex techniques on it. Cut off a piece of flesh from the broken arm, pressed it on the scroll technique, and then he started to form seals. After the seal was formed, the spell on the scroll immediately moved along the ground, and the death row prisoner was surrounded in the blink of an eye. The next moment, green light emitted from the ground, covering the death row prisoner, and dust flew up, covering the death row prisoner. The death row prisoners let out shrill screams. It was about to be completed, but suddenly, the green light dissipated and the dust was annihilated. Reanimation jutsu, failed. Orochimaru, what's going on? Danzo asked. But Orochimaru smiled and said, summoning failed. Danzo asked in confusion. Since summoning failed, why do you look happy? Orochimaru explained. The impure world reincarnation failed. This is the second time. The first time, it happened to Namikaze Minato of 4th generation. I didn't understand what happened at the time, but I just learned from you that Minato's soul is with Shinigami, and I understood it. Now that the same failure has recurred, it shows that Zan's soul is also with Shinigami. Danzo's eyes lit up and he even laughed out loud. Ha ha ha. That's great. Mizuki really used the zombie seal, and he died together with Duan. The two never guessed the truth, which was due to lack of intelligence. They knew nothing about Rinnegan and were limited by their own knowledge. After analyzing it, they declared Mizuki dead. Mizuki is dead, everyone is celebrating. Call the heads of the major families and let's go to the barbecue restaurant. Danzo was in great spirits and even proposed to have a barbecue to celebrate. Mizuki put too much pressure on Danzo. If Mizuki didn't die, Danzo would feel out of breath. Advertisement now that Mizuki was dead, he immediately felt more relaxed than ever before. He glanced at Orochimaru with an inexplicable meaning in his eyes. Orochimaru, I have discovered your secret. You are so weak now that you are not qualified to be the Hokage. Don't blame me for seizing power, I'm doing it for Konoha too. From today on, I will leave the darkness and move towards the sunshine, preparing to become a new generation of Hokage. Mizuki is dead. Nothing can threaten me anymore. I don't need you to stand in front of me anymore. Orochimaru had no objection to Danzo's suggestion and told Anbu to invite the heads of the major families. Little did they know that Mizuki was flying towards Konoha at this time. While Danzo and the others were drinking and laughing at the yakiniku restaurant, Mizuki had already entered Konoha. In the darkness, an inconspicuous pool of liquid traveled underground. After entering the Hokage building, it went directly to the Hokage office and revealed its original form. Who? The moment Mizuki showed up, the guard Anbu immediately discovered it. Attacks from 3 directions came instantly, including shurikens, kunai, and knives. All the attacks hit Mizuki, 3 shurikens, 1 in each eye, and the remaining 1 in the throat. A kunai was shot into the left chest, leaving only the handle outside. Even an inexperienced person would know that the heart had been pierced. The katana pierced the abdomen from behind, and the tip of the sword was exposed from the front, with half an inch. 3 Anbu's figures were revealed, and the one with the knife was the closest, half a meter behind Mizuki. The 3 of them had disdain on their faces when they saw how easily they had dealt with the intruders. With such strength, he dares to walk into Hokage's office with such swagger. I really don't know how the word, death, is written. Turn on the light and see what kind of retarded face this person has. At this time, the office door opened, and an Anbu, a squad leader, walked in. He ordered in a commanding tone. The cows will carry the body down, the horses will clean up the scene, and the pigs will open all the windows and use wind-style ninjutsu to blow away the blood. While speaking, he reached out and pressed the light switch. As the light disperses the darkness, Mizuki's features become clear. What? This? Is this Mizuki? The squad leader was shocked and immediately retreated to the door, taking out a kunai as a warning. There was cold sweat on his forehead. Captain, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with Mizuki? He's dead and his heartbeat has disappeared. What are you afraid of? The knife-wielding team member asked curiously. The squad leader shouted, retreat immediately and be on guard. The 3 of them acted as ordered and immediately retreated. Even in this tense environment, the knife-wielding boy didn't even want the knife. Under 4 pairs of eyes, Mizuki's body moved, his neck swayed from side to side, and his joints made a clicking sound. His hand also moved, and he pulled out the kunai stuck in his chest. The shuriken stuck in the eye socket was completely pushed into the eye socket and entered the brain with his slap. He also grabbed the tip of the knife that was inserted into his body, rotated it a few times, and then pulled it out from the front. The process of pulling out was very smooth. Seeing this strange scene, the 4 Anbu's pupils shrank wildly. 5th Hokage Orochimaru's jutsu is weird enough, but it's not as weird as what you see now. The sound of swallowing saliva was particularly clear in this quiet environment. This. What kind of monster is this? At this time, Mizuki raised his head, grinned, and revealed a big white fang. Advertisement: this is nothing. The key is that the corners of his mouth grinned wider and wider, and finally the grin reached directly to the base of his ears. But it's still not over. On his face, the skin peeled off like fish scales, falling off piece by piece, revealing the bright red flesh and blood inside. Coupled with the 2 empty eye sockets, it is simply crazy. This terrifying scene is comparable to a ghost coming to your door. Ah! An Anbu screamed. He couldn't stand it anymore. While screaming, he formed seals with his hands. Fire style, great fireball technique. Put the great fireball in the Hokage's office. This guy is a talent. The main reason is that he has broken his psychological defense. Stop it, pig, this is an illusion, don't be fooled. The squad leader wanted to stop, but it was too late. The great fireball formed and hit Mizuki. Mizuki's smile remained unchanged, but he had already used Rinnegan's sealing seal. The great fireball came to him, was absorbed immediately, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Gia. Who told you that this was an illusion? His empty eyes stared at the squad leader. The squad leader's heart beat rapidly, his face turned pale, and his whole body was covered with goosebumps. You. What the hell are you? Mizuki has had enough. He asked. Let me ask you, apart from Kato Dan, who else came out of Orochimaru's Impure World reincarnation summoning? The squad leader suppressed his fear and shouted, You can't get any information from us. Mizuki raised his eyebrows and said, Tisk, tisk, twice. If you don't tell me, then I'll have to check it out myself. He raised his hand, activated Universal Pull, and the squad leader immediately flew towards him uncontrollably. Immediately afterwards, a punch hit the opponent's abdomen. Under the severe pain, the squad leader lost the ability to resist. Team leader. The 3 Anbu shouted and all attacked Mizuki. Mizuki's eyes glanced, and all 3 of them fell into the illusion. Putting his hand on the squad leader's head, Mizuki used the ability of the human world to start searching the squad leader's recent memories. Soon, he got the information he wanted. It turned out that only Kato Dan and Hitaki Tsukumo were filthy. It seems that something happened to Orochimaru's reincarnation this time, and Chakra seems to be dissatisfied. Otherwise, he can't be just a dirty person. Abandoning the person, Mizuki left Hokage's office, went straight to the negative floor, and found a secret room. Everyone he met along the way was knocked unconscious by his magic. The secret room door was sealed, and Mizuki once again used the sealing technique to absorb the seal, absorbing the chakra supporting the seal. Open the door and enter. There is only one thing here. A mummy whose surface is covered with sealing techniques. Inside the mummy is none other than Hitaki Tsukumo. With a wave of his hand, the mummy was put into the storage ring. With Hitaki Tsukumo, Kakashi is not far away. Next, it's time to take a little revenge on Konoha. Today we must let Danzo and Orochimaru know that my idea, Mizuki, is not so easy to fight. Chapter 91. A brief battle of time and space ninjutsu. Hundreds of meters in the air. Mizuki raised his right hand above his head, with his palm facing the sky. Wind style. Super Jade. Spiral Shuriken. The spiral shuriken took shape in an instant, emitting a bright white color that was extremely dazzling in the night sky. When the spiral shuriken rotates, it also makes a clear sound like a propeller. This is not over yet. Mizuki continues to inject chakra into it. The volume of the spiral shuriken expanded rapidly, getting larger and larger, with a diameter of 5 meters, 10 meters, 15 meters. On the streets of Konoha, countless people looked up. In the barbecue restaurant, the expressions of Orochimaru, Danzo and others changed dramatically. Not good. They rushed out of the kebab shop and looked up. The spiral shuriken that continued to expand frightened everyone. Who is it? Danzo shouted angrily. In the darkness, they couldn't see Mizuki's face clearly. They could only see a humanoid black shadow under the rosin shuriken. It should be Mizuki, Orochimaru said in a hoarse voice. I have seen this move of his before. Orochimaru had seen the spiral shuriken when he was in the land of waves. At that time, even the triple Rashomon could not stop it. And now this one is larger, more powerful, already 20 meters in diameter, and it's not over yet. What, he's not dead? Danzo couldn't believe it. Wasn't it agreed that Mizuki would be sealed with ghouls and die together with Kato Dan? Why is Kato Dan dead but not Mizuki? Orochimaru looked gloomy and said, we guessed wrong. Danzo asked. What to do now? Judging from his target, it seems to be the Hokage building. With this move, the Hokage building will be completely destroyed, and the surrounding buildings will also be affected on a large scale. Danzo said this, but he was actually not in a hurry. The destruction of the Hokage building happened to be a huge blow to Orochimaru, the 5th Hokage. Orochimaru's prestige will be completely trampled on. By then, he, Danzo, would have a reasonable excuse to drive Orochimaru out of office and ascend to the position of Hokage himself. Of course Orochimaru doesn't get what he wants. Although his current body is very old and his combat power is extremely weak, he is not completely out of moves. He jumped to the roof and quickly formed seals with his hands. Summoning technique. Impure world reincarnation. 2 coffins were raised, and the first generation and second generation came out. Tobirama said with an unswerving expression, "Damn it, it's impure world reincarnation again. Orochimaru, right, do you really think you can control me with just you?" Orochimaru. "Sorry, Nidame, I had no choice but to do it." This time, he didn't use the cursed kunai to control their will and behavior. Tobirama turned around and saw Orochimaru wearing a Hokage god robe. He immediately frowned and said, "What's going on?" Orochimaru said, "It's a long story. I'll explain it later when I have the chance. In short, I am on Konoha's side. I was just acting in the past. The most important thing now is to stop the one in the sky. If we don't stop him, Konoha will suffer huge losses." Hashirama had already raised his head, looking at the huge Rasen Shuriken, his eyes full of admiration. This kind of powerful ninjutsu is not much worse than the original Madara. Tobirama was speechless. "Brother, you never leave Madara, it gives me a headache." "And, is now the time to say this?" Hashirama laughed and said, "What, I can't help it." Tobirama slapped his forehead and became even more speechless. Orochimaru urged, "Two seniors, now is not the time to chat. Konoha is in danger." Tobirama nodded and said, "Okay, the first priority is to block the opponent's attack." Advertisement, "I'll do it." At the same time, the diameter of the spiral shuriken in Mizuki's hand reached 30 meters. Mizuki injected a full 300 calories of chakra into it, and its power is unimaginable. If it really fell, it might destroy half of Konoha. This time, he was really angry. The next moment, the Rasen Shuriken flew downwards, pointing directly at the Hokage building. Coming, Tobirama had quick eyes and quick hands. He flung out 2 kunai and flew one to the top of the Hokage building at lightning speed and nailed it to the eaves. The other one flew straight into the sky. The next moment, Tobirama flashed and appeared on the top of the Hokage building, exactly where the kunai was. Flying Thunder God technique. Tobirama stood on the roof, looking up at the Rasen Shurikens shooting from diagonally above, his face expressionless. The Rasen Shuriken was so fast that it was in front of him in a blink of an eye. The strong wind brought up made Tobirama's armor rattle. It's pretty awesome, however, it is not that easy to destroy Konoha. Tobirama snorted coldly and raised his hands, but there was no seal. Suddenly, a cursed seal appeared in the void, like a big net, hanging over the Hokage tower. 100 meters in the air, Mizuki looked down from a high position, looking at the black curse seal formation that was shaped like a big net, his eyes narrowed slightly. It seems familiar. This is the Flying Thunder God? In the anime, the Flying Thunder God guide mine appeared several times, and was used by both 2nd generation and 4th generation. During the Nine Tails Rebellion, 4th generation used the Flying Thunder God guided mine to divert the Nine Tails Tailed Beast Bomb. During the 4th generation, the 10 Tails Tailed Beast Bomb that left the Ninja Alliance helpless was easily transferred to the sea by the 4th generation. Tobirama also deflected Obito's truth-seeking ball. Using this move to block the Rasen Shuriken is quite useful. Where would you move it, though? At this time, the spiral shuriken had touched the Flying Thunder God's lightning guide seal, and the big net immediately collapsed inward, wrapping the spiral shuriken, and then disappeared together with the spiral shuriken. The Hokage building, apart from some tiles blown off by strong winds, did not suffer any other damage. Successful, Tobirama said calmly. He looked up to the sky, where there was his other kunai. At the same time, Mizuki also looked up to the sky. The Rasen Shuriken that had just disappeared appeared again. Should it be transferred to a high-altitude explosion? It's a good idea, but it's a pity that the attack I spent so much chakra on can be neutralized so easily. Mizuki smiled lightly, and the next moment, his position suddenly changed and he was on the top of the Hokage building. In response, 2nd Hokage appeared 100 meters in the air. After the transformation, the two people's positions were switched. Huh? This person also knows space ninjutsu? Tobirama frowned, used Flying Thunder God again, came to the location of kunai on the roof, and at the same time raised his foot to kick Mizuki. Mizuki smiled lightly and said, "Get ready to explode." The next moment, the apparition was activated again. This time the object of exchange was the controlled spiral shuriken. In an instant, Mizuki was high in the sky. The 30-meter diameter spiral shuriken appeared on the roof of the Hokage building. What? Tobirama had no time to react and was enveloped in horrific damage. He didn't even last 0.1 seconds before turning into ashes. Under the terrifying rotation and destruction, the Hokage building quickly disintegrated like tofu. "It's over," Orochimaru said blankly in the distance. "Don't panic." Senju Hashirama said calmly. He was already prepared. He bit his finger and slapped the ground with one hand. Summoning technique. 5-fold Rashomon. 5 huge Rashomon gates rose from the ground. Their height, width and thickness increased several times compared to those summoned by Orochimaru. And what is different from the past is that these 5 Rashomon gates are not arranged in a straight line, but stand side by side, forming a semicircle, standing in front of the Hokage building, blocking other buildings in the village behind. Advertisement. Boom. Accompanied by an earth-shattering explosion, dazzling light shot into the sky, illuminating the entire Konoha as if it were daytime. The ground shook violently, and Rashomon continued to shake and even began to fall backwards. It's so powerful. Just the aftermath of the explosion can push the Rashomon gate. Hashirama's expression changed. He clapped his hands and shouted, "Wood style, unbutton your crotch." A large group of giant trees grew rapidly and reached behind Rashomon. It's blocked. Great. At this time, Mizuki had already flown to another place. Seeing that the explosion of the Rasen Shuriken was blocked by Rashomon and Wood style, Mizuki didn't feel any pity. The Hokage building was destroyed, and all the ninjas on duty inside died. The Hokage rock, which was being rebuilt behind the Hokage building, was also destroyed again. This is just right. It not only teaches Orochimaru and the top management of Konoha a lesson, but also doesn't hurt too many civilians. He also planned to continue harvesting Konoha's wool and lead people to defect from Konoha. If Konoha is completely destroyed, those geniuses will be gone. Today I taught Orochimaru a bloody lesson, that's almost it. Next, Danzo's roots. From the memory of the Anbu squad leader, Mizuki explored the location of the root base. It's better to destroy this dirty and smelly rat's nest. He entered the root base, and the root ninja guarding the base was knocked down by Genjutsu before he showed up, and was unable to even issue a warning. Mizuki did not take action directly, but searched the base. He went into all the various secret rooms and checked them out. As long as he finds something useful, he packs it all into a storage ring. There are so many seals on the door of this secret room. The things inside must be very important. This kind of seal is completely ineffective for him. The seal will automatically become ineffective if the seal is absorbed and the chakra is drained. The moment the seal was lifted, Danzo had already felt it. No, the base has been invaded. Danzo's expression changed greatly, but he did not dare to return to the base immediately because he knew it was Mizuki. He is afraid of death. Mizuki was about to open the door and walk into the secret room when he suddenly frowned. He sensed that there was a dangerous aura approaching behind him, and when he looked back, he didn't see anything. No, something is approaching. Sharingan and Rinnegan drove together, and then he saw swarms of tiny insects flying in the air. Insect, a ninja of the Aburame family, and such a small insect, is it the root of Aburame? Then these bugs cannot be touched easily. Aburame takes the root, and its body contains highly toxic nanoscale poisonous insects. If someone is infected with this toxin, they will die due to the destruction of cells in the body. Very dangerous. It seems that this secret room is very important. Mizuki became more and more interested. Shinra Tenjung. Under the strong repulsive force, the insects that flew close immediately flew out. At the same time, Mizuki's Sharingan glanced toward the darkness in the distance. With just one glance, Aburame, who was hiding in the dark, fell into an illusion and lost his ability to attack. Mizuki opened the door and walked into the secret room. Then he saw that the wall was covered with reagent bottles, and each bottle contained an eye. They are all Sharingan, 1 Magatama, 2 Magatama, and 3 Magatama. Altogether, there are no less than 300. Hiss. Even though Mizuki was used to the cruelty of the ninja world, he felt a little numb at this moment. Chapter 92. Danzo's tears. It's so crazy to accept Danzo, the sixth one. With so many Sharingan, no wonder Danzo doesn't even blink when using Izanagi. You don't have to worry about consumption at all. Moreover, Sharingan here is not necessarily all. The so-called cunning rabbit has 3 holes. A person with a dark mind like Danzo is extremely cunning and cannot put all his eggs in the same basket. Like Orochimaru, Danzo must have other secret bases. Destroy this place first before we talk about it. Mizuki came to Konoha today. Besides Hitaki Tsukumo, another reason was revenge. Destroying the Hokage building and the root base was his warning to Orochimaru and Danzo. As for killing them, Mizuki has no intention of doing so. Orochimaru is not easy to kill, and he can be resurrected even if he is killed, so there is no need. As for Danzo, Mizuki left him with Sasuke, which is what he promised Sasuke. Soon, all Sharingan were collected by Mizuki. In addition to these Sharingan, he also received a Ninjutsu training scroll. This is the forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan, the ultimate eye technique, Izanagi. Danzo puts it in the same room as these Sharingans, which shows how much attention it takes. Originally, Sasuke's remaining opportunity to return this month was to give one-tail Shukaku. Now, there seems to be a more suitable option. Yes, Mizuki changed his mind and planned to give Izanagi to Sasuke first. It's not that he's afraid of death, it's hard for him to die now that he has the resentful Empress Yu. He just wanted to know what Izanagi would become after being doubled and returned by the system. It's almost done. I've already raided the root base and it's time to destroy it. At this moment, the door to the secret room closed automatically with a bang. 4 loud shouts came from outside the door. Ninja technique, 4 purple flame formation. Mizuki raised a brow, then chuckled. Still want to attack me? Danzo, do you know that I promised Sasuke not to kill you? He didn't pay attention. With his current strength and various weird ninjutsu, even Senju Hashirama in his heyday would be unable to do anything to him. Even if he can't beat him and he wants to leave, Hashirama can't stop him. At this moment, a large amount of light yellow smoke came out from the air inlets at the 4 corners, and in an instant it filled the entire room. After the smoke is inhaled into the body, it wildly destroys his body cells. It's highly toxic. If ordinary people came in, they really couldn't hold it for a few seconds. Haha, what a small trick, Mizuki laughed it off. Although the body cells were damaged, the large amount of vitality devoured by Tianyu could not be covered. The recovery rate of cells cannot be slower than the rate of damage. Apart from consuming a little bit of the vitality stored in his body, there was no other effect at all. In fact, during the process of repeated destruction and repair, his cells became resistant to the poisonous smoke. After a while, the poisonous smoke was completely ineffective. Outside the secret room, Aburame got out of the control of illusion with the help of others. At this time, he was controlling the parasite and entering the secret room to explore. Advertisement: he is not dead. My bug feels strong vitality. The poisonous smoke cannot cause effective harm to him. Plan A failed. Now implement Plan B. After saying this, Aburame took off his gloves and a large number of nano-sized poisonous insects flew out and entered the secret room through the vents. This poisonous insect eats chakra and damages the enemy's cells by emitting highly toxic poison. Within the cells, the poisonous insects multiply rapidly until the enemy dies. Once caught by this bug, you are basically dead. After the poisonous insect entered the secret room, Mizuki immediately sensed the danger. It's bugs again. Mizuki didn't dare to let this poisonous insect get on his body. This kind of thing would multiply indefinitely in the body and could not be removed. Just thinking about it made his scalp numb. Although Tianyu can turn him into liquid, there are some things on his body that he can't get rid of. Such as bacteria, such as viruses. The poisonous insect that Aburame took the root of is nano-sized, so small that it is just like a virus. No, it is more vicious than a virus. If you are really contaminated, the consequences are unpredictable, so it's better to stay away. It's almost time to finish. He raised his hands sideways, as if hugging the ceiling. His posture was elegant and haughty. Super. Shinra Tenjung. With him as the center, it spreads outward in a spherical form. Wherever the repulsive force reaches, everything is annihilated. The ground of Konoha shook again. Although the shock this time was not as violent as when the Rasen Shuriken exploded just now, it lasted longer. What happened? Has the village been attacked again? It was the Hokage building just now. Where is it now? The vibrations came from outside the village, but there were explosions every time. The villagers were panicked. Orochimaru and others looked toward the root base. As ninjas, their perceptions are more acute and they already know clearly that something is going on over there. Danzo looked ugly and gritted his teeth. He was very unwilling, but had no choice. The next moment, everyone saw a huge piece of land with a diameter of hundreds of meters flying up, disintegrating in the air while flying upward. Below, there is a giant sinkhole, with a mouth and a large belly, and is spherical in shape. It's also a shame that Danzo set up his base outside the village in order to hide from others, otherwise Konoha would probably collapse. What's more, Mizuki used this move underground, and its power was blocked by the earth. Otherwise, if he used it in the sky like pain, the damage caused would be more than this. Danzo's eyes were red. My base, my hard work day and night, and the hard work accumulated over the past few decades were all destroyed today. The root ninja left behind in the base accounted for 80% of all root ninja, and now they're all dead. Damn it, Mizuki, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to get my revenge. Damn it, my roots, he cried, tearful. Orochimaru on the side looked at the pitiful Danzo and couldn't help but curl up the corner of his mouth. Oh, rubbish Danzo, you still want to covet my position as Hokage, what a daydream. Now that your roots are destroyed and most of your root ninjas are dead or injured, let me see what else you have to fight with me for. Senju Hashirama and Senju Toburama began to get angry as they watched Mizuki destroy the village wantonly but were unable to stop him. Advertisement, especially Toburama, who has a bad temper and can't stand it anymore. Orochimaru, tell me the details of this Mizuki. I need to understand what he's capable of and then work out countermeasures. Toburama plans to return to his old business. Mizuki, an evil person who destroyed Konoha village, must be punished. This time, Hashirama didn't stop him. Toburama, go ahead and do it, for the sake of Konoha village, I allow it. At the same time, 4 wood clones were separated from Hashirama. The 4 clones quickly went in 4 directions and surrounded Konoha in the form of 4 corners. Ninja technique. 4 red yang formation. Red barriers rose on all sides, wrapping the entire Konoha. He wanted to use this method to prevent Mizuki from entering the village again to cause damage. Little did he know, he used super. Mizuki of Shinra Tensei's chakra is almost exhausted, and he has no intention of continuing to take action. Looking at the 4 red yang formation created by Hashirama, Mizuki smiled faintly. This thing can block a lot of things, but it can't block space travel. It's time to go find Kakashi. Just as he was about to use the apparition technique to enter the barrier, Hashirama and Toburama had already turned their heads and looked towards his location. Damn, I forgot that those 2 idiots are sentient. After thinking about it, Mizuki decided to retreat temporarily. There was nothing he could do. The move just now exhausted his chakra and pupil power. Rinnegan could not use any pupil technique for the time being. Although chakra is recovering, the powerful ninjutsu cannot be used in a short period of time. If you are besieged, you will be very passive, and with these 2 sentient ninjas around, he could never hope to contact Kakashi smoothly. Forget it, let's do it next time. Anyway, if Hitaki Tsukumo gets it, Kakashi will be a member of my Phoenix village sooner or later. He turned and left, flying to the land of birds. We have to find a way to get all the talented players from Konoha to the land of birds as soon as possible. Lest when I take action in Konoha, I won't be able to let go, for fear of killing those geniuses. Flying also consumes chakra, 0.01 calories per second, which is 0.6 calories per minute. After taking super soldier food pills several times, his chakra recovery rate reached 2.5 calories per minute. So as you fly, the chakra will not decrease, but will increase. When he approached the Kingdom of Rain, the chakra in his body had returned to 200 calories. About to fly over the rain country, he raised his altitude and planned to fly over from an altitude of several thousand meters, so as not to alert Nagato in Rain Shinobi Village and cause trouble in vain. At this moment, he suddenly saw a familiar big white bird in front of him. Sitting on the back of the bird were two people, Deidara and the red sand scorpion. The tail feathers of the bird are curled up, and there is a person among them. Isn't this Seven Tails Jinchuriki Fu from Taki Ninja Village? This artistic duo is really persistent. A few days ago, due to their intervention, they failed to capture Seven Tails Jinchuriki. Unexpectedly, they turned back so quickly and succeeded in capturing him. Now that we have met, then Seven Tails should also belong to me in Phoenix Village. Although Chakra has only recovered a small part, it is enough. Apparition. In an instant, Mizuki and the red sand scorpion switched places. Mizuki landed on the back of the big bird, while Scorpion reached the empty sky of 1,000 meters. Red Sand Scorpion. Chapter 93, Super Explosion Fools Deidara. Deidara, do you want to die? He has been very calm since he was a child. When he meets Scorpio, who is calm in everything, he can no longer remain calm now. He thought that Deidara was deliberately trying to harm him. Angry, with his methods, he would not be killed if he fell. But being played like this by Deidara, where's his dignity as the eldest brother? As he fell, he took out a scroll and summoned the puppet in it, Third Case Cage. The third Case Cage, whose name is unknown, masters the magnet-style bloodline limit and can control sand iron. Due to the special nature of the magnet style, all magnetic objects will be controlled by him. On the battlefield, all the enemy's iron weapons will be ineffective. Therefore, Third Case Cage is known as the strongest Case Cage in history. Unfortunately, this guy was killed by the red sand scorpion and turned into a human puppet. The name of the strongest is really ironic. The so-called magnet style is almost as slow as changing the name. At this time, Scorpion summoned the third Case Cage, along with a large amount of sand iron. Magnet style. Sunatetsu no Tsubasa. Under the control of Scorpion, third Case Cage performed the magnet style secret technique, creating a pair of sand iron wings behind himself and Scorpion. The wings flapped, and the Scorpion's falling force immediately reversed, flying freely in the air. Crisis resolved. Needless to say, these figures in Sanagakure are quite free and they can all fly. Damn Deidara, you dare to play with me, I have to kill him today and make him a new puppet. I want you to understand that eternity is the real art. Scorpio glanced around, and with the help of the moonlight, he quickly found Deidara's big white bird. He doesn't have a Sharingan, much less a Rinnegan, and his eyesight isn't as pervert as Mizuki's. So he couldn't see what was happening on the bird's back. Hey, brother Scorpion, why did you use the transformation technique to look like someone else? Or is this your true face under the disguise of a puppet? Under the moonlight, Mizuki's back was turned to the moon, and his face was hidden in the shadow. Due to the backlight effect, Deidara did not see Mizuki's appearance clearly at the first time. I just thought it was Scorpio playing a prank. At this time, Deidara was only 15 years old, but already had cage-level strength. I have to say, this is a super genius. Mizuki is excited. Deidara, I admire your pursuit of art. A flash of light, followed by a pleasing explosion, very thoughtful. Deidara looked at Mizuki and said, so you are not Brother Scorpion, but I still want to say that you are really discerning. Because you admire my art so much, I decided to let you experience the true charm of art. I want you to die under my art. As soon as he finished speaking, a clay centipede broke open the bird's back and wrapped Mizuki in an instant. You can't run away now, huh? He raised his hand, preparing to control the clay centipede to explode. At this time, Mizuki smiled and said, don't worry, you'd better take a look at yourself. Deidara was shocked. As a huge three-tomo Sharingan pattern floated past his head, his expression suddenly changed. Looking down, he saw that the clay centipede was wrapped around himself. He nearly blew himself up. Advertisement? Illusion? No, how could this happen? This is impossible. My ability to resist illusions has obviously improved significantly, so why'd I still fall victim to it? And this same scene, no, I would never believe it. Since being defeated by Uchiha Itachi's Genjutsu, Deidara was unwilling to accept it. After joining the Akatsuki organization, she worked hard to practice Genjutsu resistance and Genjutsu dispelling. I thought that I was no longer afraid of all illusions, but I didn't expect that I would fall under illusions again today. Deidara, your art is ineffective in my presence. Deidara had just gotten rid of the illusion when he heard the sound and looked over unconsciously. Then Xiao Di saw a person floating quietly in the air, with a full moon behind his head. The moonlight was shining like holy light, making him look like a god. This was intentional by Mizuki. Stand in a coquettish position and use chakra to affect the moonlight around you, creating a dazzling effect like the Tyndall effect. As expected, Deidara was stunned. No. The memory of past humiliation came to mind again, and Deidara almost collapsed. Uchiha Itachi, is that you? Deidara asked loudly, because the same scene happened to Uchiha Itachi. Mizuki smiled inwardly. Young people have never seen the world. I am not Uchiha Itachi. I am the first generation Hokage of Phoenix Village in the Land of Birds, the twin shadow killer of the two kingdoms of wind and fire, and the strongest in the ninja world, Mizuki. Ever since Mizuki killed the third Hokage and the fourth Kazekage, his fame spread throughout the ninja world. The name of the twin shadow killer also appeared. He is also the only strong man in the history of the ninja world to kill two Kages. In the underground money exchange, Mizuki's reward amount is as high as 12,000 taels. Konoha Village and San Shinobi Village offered large sums of money as bounties at all costs. Why are you here? Where is Brother Scorpion? Mizuki said. The Red Sand Scorpion is there, flying this way. As for why I'm here, well, it's just a coincidence. Deidara, I admire your pursuit of art. The explosive art you invented has great potential. Unfortunately, in my opinion, your explosive art is too weak. How dare you underestimate my art, Deidara, who do you think you are? He retorted. Why do you, a person who doesn't understand art, belittle my art, huh? Mizuki murmured. A real explosion is one that destroys the world. One moment is enough to destroy the entire Fire Nation. That is the real art. Your explosion is just a child's play. Mizuki is no joke. The Tsar bomb of the former Soviet Union had a damage radius of up to 1,000 kilometers. It's easy to blow up a Fire Nation. Deidara's eyes widened. Destroy the Fire Nation instantly. What are you talking about? How could there be such a powerful art? Even if it is my ultimate art, the explosion radius can only reach 10 kilometers. If you want to destroy the Kingdom of Fire, hundreds of self-destructions are not enough. However, although his words were full of doubts, his eyes were full of interest. He kind of wants to know what kind of art Mizuki said can destroy the Land of Fire in an instant. Mizuki looked at Deidara and smiled. If you become my teacher, I will teach you this super powerful explosive art. At that time, the ninja world won't be enough for you to toss around. You may even have to go to outer space to express your art freely. One cast of art can blow up a planet. Do you want it? Advertisement. Mizuki's words were too attractive to Deidara. Just imagining that scene made Deidara tremble with excitement. Are you really willing to teach me this art? Mizuki smiled and said, Of course I do. In this ninja world, except for you, I can't think of anyone else who can inherit my art. I have many disciples. What they want to learn are ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. They can't escape the ninja framework and are stuck in their ways. Only you have transcended the definition of ordinary ninja. Only you can inherit my true mantle. Xiao Di was almost climaxing while listening to Mizuki's trick. He transcended the madness of ordinary ninjas and embarked on a new ninja path. So is my pursuit of Deidara so advanced? Well, is your super explosive art difficult to learn? Deidara asked, his face full of anxiety, waiting for Mizuki's answer. Mizuki frowned, thinking that if he said something difficult, he might scare him away. So he said, This super explosive art is difficult. It involves mathematics, physics, chemistry, thermodynamics, materials science, engineering and other fields of knowledge. Ordinary people will never be able to learn it. But no matter how difficult it is still trivial to you. With your pursuit of art, it will be easy to learn. Deidara was overjoyed when he heard this and said, Haha, you really didn't lie to me. It's better if it's difficult to learn. The more difficult something is, the higher the artistic quality is. Mizuki. In that case, you can become a disciple and then follow me back to Phoenix Village. But Deidara shook his head and said, No, I am now a member of the Akatsuki organization. If I leave with you, the Akatsuki organization will hunt me down. Those guys are all perverts. I don't want to die. Although you are strong, you probably have no chance of winning against the leader of the Akatsuki organization. Mizuki raised an eyebrow. Young man, dare you underestimate me? At this time, the Red Sand Scorpion had flown in and was getting closer. He finally saw that besides Deidara, Mizuki was also there. Then, he flapped his wings, turned around and ran away. Deidara, hold on for a while. This is very close to the headquarters. I will notify the leader to rescue you. My teammates sold it very simply, but Deidara said to Mizuki. Hey, why don't you leave? You will be in danger when our leader comes. He now knows that Mizuki has no intention of killing him, so he is not worried about any danger to himself. Mizuki said, Aren't you worried that after joining Phoenix Village, the Akatsuki organization will hunt you down? Pen is here just in time to let you see my strength and dispel your worries. But at the next moment, Mizuki's expression suddenly changed. What a San Shinobi Village actually took advantage of my absence to launch a massive night attack on Phoenix Village. Deidara, I have something urgent to do today and I have to go to the county. I will come back to you next time. If you want to learn the super explosive art, only I can teach you. Also, I took 7 Tails Jinchuriki with me. A universal pull sucked Fu into his hand, and Mizuki flew towards the Land of Birds at maximum speed. Deidara looked at Mizuki's back and sneered. TCH, I thought he had real abilities, but he was scared away by the title of leader. So, the super explosive art he talked about also deceived me. Humph, I almost believed him. But at this moment, Deidara saw a person flying in front of Mizuki. The figure was very familiar, it was Tendo Pain. The leader is here so quickly, Mizuki is dead now. Mizuki looked at Tendo Pain, who was blocking the front, frowned and said, "Get out of the way, I don't have time to fight you now." Pain looked calm. First generation Hokage Mizuki, hand over 7 tails Jinchuriki and join the Akatsuki organization, and I will spare your life. If you resist again, I will not only kill you, but also destroy the Phoenix village you established in the bird country. You have no choice. Chapter 94. Nagato's long-term plan. Annoying. As soon as he finished speaking, Mizuki's left eye suddenly widened, and his pupil technique, High Soul Life, was activated, and the power of forbidden magic enveloped Pain. However, Pain didn't react at all and still maintained his flying state with the help of repulsion. Pain looked at Mizuki and said calmly, "You actually have Sharingan, another Kakashi? However, your Sharingan doesn't work on me. Rinnegan has the eyes of an immortal. How can he rival me if he is just an ordinary person? You are stubborn, so feel the pain from now on. Only pain can make you realize reality." Mizuki said nothing. He just tried it and the result was not beyond expectations. After all, the Sharingan is not as good as the Rinnegan. Even the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan appears to be at a disadvantage in front of the Rinnegan. In other words, Uchiha Itachi's Amaterasu can harm the owner of the Rinnegan. Sand Shinobi Village is launching a large-scale attack. Naruto and the others don't have to worry about their safety, but Phoenix Village, which was built with great difficulty, will suffer huge damage. There are still too few ninjas in the village to effectively protect the village. This is why Mizuki is anxious to go back. If we had gone back a minute earlier, more of the village's buildings would have been preserved. He looked up at Pain and said, "Since you like blocking roads so much, I'll give you a surprise. As for whether it's painful or not, it's ridiculous. What you call pain is just wishful thinking." The next moment, his right eye opened Rinnegan. Pain was shocked when he saw Mizuki's Rinnegan. "Why do you have it too?" Mizuki did not answer, but shouted in a deep voice, "Heterogeneous. Rinne Tensai technique. Green light enveloped Tiandao Pain. Put a super in Konoha." Shinra Tenjung almost exhausted Rinnegan's eye power. After all, he only has one Rinnegan, and its power is only half. Now that Luffy has arrived, his pupil power has finally recovered somewhat. Although super Shinra Tianjung's ultimate move cannot be used, but it is still possible to resurrect individuals. At this time, Rain Shinobi Village, Nagato was sitting in a wheelchair, his body suddenly sat up straight, and he exclaimed, "Why is this happening? He also has a Rinnegan, but why did he do this? Don't he know that if he uses that move, he himself will die?" Nagato clearly knows that the cost of performing the Rinne Tensai technique is the life of the user. This is why he didn't use Rinne Tensai to resurrect Yahiko. Because Yahiko lives, but he will die, there is no point in exchanging one life for another. Behind him, Konan asked, "Nagato, what happened? Isn't Kabu Mizuki's opponent?" Nagato did not explain, but said at a very fast speed, "Konan, inform Deidara immediately and be sure to catch Yahiko." Seeing Nagato being so anxious, Konan immediately informed Deidara as he said, "The rings of the Akatsuki organization have the function of transmitting messages. Therefore, although members of the Akatsuki organization are scattered throughout the ninja world, it is easy to obtain and deliver information. Notification has been received. Nagato, what is going on?" Nagato said with a trembling voice, "Mizuki has awakened the Rinnegan, and he is using the Rinne Tensai technique to resurrect Yahiko." "What?" Konan's face turned pale. Then she walked quickly towards the door, the white paper peeling off her body and forming wings behind her. "Wait a minute!" Nagato shouted, "Take me with you." On Mizuki's side, feeling the breath of life gradually blooming in the green light, Mizuki snorted and flew away to the west. Advertisement. A few seconds after leaving, the green light on Pain dissipated. "Hey, where am I? Why am I in the sky? Help, I can't fly." "Ah!" The resurrected Yahiko screamed and fell downwards. Unfortunately, there was a black rod inserted in his body, causing him to be unable to move. Like a puppet, falling vertically, but he shouted for a while and suddenly stopped. "No, I was already dead. I even shouted for help, it was so embarrassing." So, he remained silent and allowed himself to fall freely. Because it was night, nothing could be seen clearly, so Yahiko hadn't noticed yet that this place was no longer a pure land. Seeing that he was about to fall to the ground and be smashed into meat pie, Deidara finally arrived on a clay bird and successfully rescued him. "Hey, who are you?" Yahiko asked. Deidara frowned and asked, "Chief, you don't recognize me anymore. That's not right. Why is your Rinnegan gone, huh?" Xiao Di was very confused and didn't understand what was going on with this leader. Yahiko asked, "Hey, what's your name? It's such a pity that you died so young." Xiao Di was speechless. "What did you say? Who died? I live well and study explosion art every day, how could I die so easily? You have reached the pure land and still don't admit it. Your bones are rotten, but your mouth is still hard." Deidara was so angry that he exploded. "You dare to curse me to death, and I will let you taste the charm of art, huh?" Xiao Di was about to release the clay bird bomb when a voice suddenly sounded from a distance. "Deidara, stop." Hearing the sound, Deidara stopped his hand angrily, but Yahiko's eyes changed. Why does this voice sound so much like Konan? Konan spread his white wings and descended like an angel. Yahiko was dumbfounded. "Konan, you." Konan smiled and said, "Yahiko, welcome back." Conan, what the hell is going on? Don't worry, let's wait until we meet Nagato, Conan said with a smile. She turned to Xiaodi again and asked, Deidara, where's Mizuki's body? Xiaodi wondered. Master. Corpse. He is not dead. Where did the corpse come from? What, Mizuki isn't dead? This is impossible. Rinne Tensai technique, the price is the life of the caster. Mizuki used Rinne Tensai to resurrect Yahiko. He should be dead, but why not? Yeah, he's not dead, he flew away, Conan wondered. Could it be that he was afraid that the body would be obtained by the Akatsuki organization, so he took his last breath and hid away? She still felt something was wrong, so she asked again, did he change anything when he left? For example, did his hair become pale, did his face have wrinkles, and did his body become older? Deidara said bluntly. How'd I know this? It's late at night and I'm far away, so I can't see clearly. Conan nodded, seeing that he couldn't ask anything, so he could only send Deidara away, and then took Yahiko to see Nagato. After the three met, Nagato and Conan explained, and Yahiko understood everything. Nagato, why are you doing this? This was not our intention when we established the Akatsuki organization. Obviously, Yahiko firmly disagrees with Nagato's concept of peace. Advertisement Yahiko has always advocated using dialogue to discourage war. The original Akatsuki organization also did that. Since Yahiko's death, Nagato has become the leader of the Akatsuki organization and has changed his past philosophy. He wants the world to feel pain and fear war, and then the world will cherish the hard-won peace, thereby achieving the goal of world peace. But now, Yahiko is alive. Nagato asked, Yahiko, why did you die? Don't you remember? Yahiko was silent. Our original idea was to achieve peace through dialogue, but we were wrong, so wrong that you even lost your life. Hanzo is afraid of us and wants to get rid of us. With dialogue alone, we cannot bring about peace in the shinobi world, let alone peace in Rain Shinobi Village. This country is still crying, and the people are still living in pain. Nagato said with firm eyes, Yahiko, give up your unrealistic ideas. Only pain can bring peace. Yahiko was silent. He couldn't argue, but according to you, making the ninja world feel pain requires powerful force. Does the Akatsuki organization have this ability? Nagato said. So, the Akatsuki organization's plan is to collect tailed beasts, gather the 9 tailed beasts, resurrect 10 tails, and then I will become 10 tails Jinchuriki. My strength will reach the level of Sage of 6 Paths. At that point, peace will be at your fingertips. Yahiko frowned. It's difficult to collect the 9 tailed beasts. After all, the tailed beasts are in the hands of the 5 major countries, and they will never give them up. Nagato said. It wasn't difficult originally, but that Mizuki turned out and he also has a Rinnegan, which made it more difficult for us to collect tailed beasts. But I have a way. Conan asked. Nagato, what method did you come up with? Nagato explained. Now, 1 tail, 7 tails, and 9 tails have all fallen into Mizuki's hands. This shows that Mizuki also has plans to collect tailed beasts. Why not, let him collect the tailed beasts first. When there are more and more tailed beasts in Phoenix Village, the 5 major nations will definitely be unable to sit still. By then, the 5-nation coalition will surely set foot on the Bird Kingdom and launch a battle formation to fight for the tailed beasts. Phoenix Village fights against the 5 major villages alone. Although Mizuki is strong, it cannot win with certainty. While both sides suffer, we can benefit from it and seize the 9 tailed beasts without any effort. Yahiko frowned. He was originally a sunny young man, very positive in his dealings with others and had a very optimistic attitude. He didn't like the smell of conspiracy. Nagato, from what I know about you, this kind of conspiracy and calculation is not your specialty. Someone must have told you this strategy. It's the masked man, the guy who calls himself Uchiha Madara and exudes evil chakra. Nagato, you should stay away from him. In the Bird Country, Phoenix Village, a large number of Sand Shinobi Village ninjas came from all directions. There are various wind-style ninjutsus emerging one after another, as well as poisonous puppets. The most important thing is that there are too many of them. There are only 15 ninjas in Phoenix Village, and Mizuki is not there yet. The disadvantage in numbers is huge. Moreover, in Phoenix Village, Tsunade's anemia has not healed and cannot fight. Although Nawaki was resurrected by Mizuki, he currently has no sense of belonging to Phoenix Village. He and Shizune do not intend to take the initiative, but intend to protect Tsunade. Nobita's 3 bodies. I haven't mastered the technique yet, so I have no fighting power. Those who can fight are Naruto and his son, Sasuke, Gaara, Sai and Nobu brothers, Neji and his son, Zabuza and Haku. The most exciting thing is Naruto. With the help of Shuriken Shadow Clone technique, special kunai are inserted everywhere. Relying on the flying thunder god, Naruto turned into a yellow flash and disappeared among the enemies. Coupled with the high lethality of the Rasengan, he was truly unscrupulous. Naruto alone almost disintegrated Sand Shinobi's offensive momentum. In order to deal with Naruto, Sand Shinobi released a wide range of ninjutsu wantonly, which resulted in the buildings of Phoenix Village being severely damaged. When Mizuki came back and saw the collapsed buildings, he was so angry that his nostrils were filled with smoke. Damn Sand Shinobi, you are seeking death. Chapter 95. No one ran away. Mizuki is back. Retreat quickly. With an order from Sand Shinobi's senior management, everyone retreated like a tide. Mizuki stood in the air and looked coldly at the retreating Sand Shinobi army. He was in no hurry to take action. There are too many people. Killing them one by one will be very time-consuming and some fish will slip through the net. Mizuki has prepared his ultimate move. When Sand Shinobi retreated 2 kilometers outside the village, Mizuki moved. Planetary devastation. He stretched out his right hand, and a black ball appeared in his palm, then floated up and hung over the heads of the Sand Shinobi troops. In the night sky, this black ball is inconspicuous. However, all Sand Shinobi felt the terrifying aura coming from above their heads. What is that? What a scary chakra. The Sand Shinobi haven't figured out what the black ball is, but the next moment, gravity has exploded. Trees rose from the ground cracked, and large rocks flew upwards, converging on the surface of the black ball. A huge suspended sphere was born, growing in size. The Sand Shinobi were mixed in with the earth and rocks, and flew into the sky with screams. They struggled, but could not escape. They were tied to the surface of the sphere, unable to move, and then new earth and stone covered their bodies. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of Sand Shinobi were all sealed in the planetary devastation. No one ran away. As the planetary devastation ended, a huge spherical meteorite with a diameter of several hundred meters hung in the air, particularly conspicuous in the moonlight. Everyone in Phoenix Village looked at this scene and marveled in their hearts. What kind of technique is this? Is this something a ninja can do? Zabuza can be considered a person who has seen the world, but he was almost scared to death at this time. Sasuke's eyes were full of divine light, and he murmured, "Is this all his strength? If I learn this technique, Konoha can destroy it with just a raised hand." Naruto was very excited and shouted loudly, "Master is so powerful. This is the first time I've seen this move." Others were also excited, as if they had seen a miracle. A weakling like Nobita has long been stunned. This powerful technique is almost as strong as my grandfather's. Tsunade sighed. She had seen the power of Senju Hashirama. Although she was still very young at that time, she could already remember it. Nawaki on the side curled his lips and said, "I have awakened wood-style bloodline and will surpass him soon. Sister, I have decided to go back to Konoha tomorrow to learn the secret technique of wood-style. I want to be a Hokage. I want to be the strongest Hokage after my grandfather. I will protect the village that my grandfather founded." Tsunade shouted, "No, why not? Didn't you support me becoming a Hokage before?" Tsunade said earnestly, "Nawaki, you have to understand that the Uchiha clan is not accepted by Konoha, and the same is true for the Senju clan. My second grandfather broke up the Senju clan and dispersed them into the village in order to protect the Senju bloodline. But they were so cruel. You know, to this day, the only Senju descendants left in the entire ninja world are you and me." Tsunade left Konoha and wandered around the ninja world for more than 20 years, not for self-protection. She stayed away from the center of power in Konoha, never got married, and never had children. Only in this way did the higher-ups in Konoha feel at ease with her. In the anime, if she hadn't been moved by Naruto, if she hadn't recovered from her phobia, if Konoha hadn't asked her to come back as the boss, she would have the absolute right to speak. Without these conditions, she would never come even half a step closer to Konoha. She continued. "That village is no longer what it was before. Your teacher, Orochimaru, is completely different from before. Unless one day you master the secret technique of wood style and become powerful, I will not allow you to return to Konoha." Nawaki understood more or less, advertisement, so he fell silent. But soon, his eyes became bright and determined. "Sister, I understand. Don't worry, I've died once, and I won't be as reckless as before. But Konoha was founded by my grandfather, and I will never be willing to see it fall into darkness. When I have the strength, I will definitely go back, change it, and make it bright and warm again." Tsunade held Nawaki in his arms, rubbed his head, and said with a smile, "That's right. By the way, I heard from Mizuki that he robbed Konoha's ninjutsu and even brought back the Book of Ceilings. If you want to learn the secret technique of wood style, you can find him." This hurt Nawaki. His face was so airtight that he almost suffocated. Mizuki looked at his masterpiece and nodded with satisfaction. "Let this remain in the sky as a warning to other countries. Let everyone know that whoever dares to attack Phoenix Village will suffer the consequences. Also, take the time to go to Sand Shinobi Village and collect some interest. If you dare to take Gaara away while I'm away, you will eat the heart of a bear but the courage of a leopard." Returning to Phoenix Village, Mizuki frowned as he looked at the dilapidated buildings outside the village. Missing a Yamato. Mizuki has been running around a lot these days, and Mizuki is a little tired. Not physically tired, but mentally tired. It's almost early morning. After chatting with everyone for a while, he went home to rest. As for Seven Tails Jinchuriki Fu, she is still halfway there. When flying with people, the speed is greatly affected. In order to return to Phoenix Village as soon as possible, Mizuki had to put Fu Xian down and create a shadow clone to take her. Everyone also dispersed. Everyone had just experienced an offensive and defensive battle and was very tired. Even someone as energetic as Naruto was tired. At Naruto's house, Kushina spread the quilt and shouted, "Naruto, come and sleep with Mom." Naruto said awkwardly, "Mom, I have grown up and am already an adult. Adults are not allowed to sleep with Mom. If word spreads, others will laugh." Kushina had a loving smile on her face. "No matter how old you are still my son. You have never enjoyed your mother's arms since you were born. I just just want to make up for it. Naruto, I'm sorry. Naruto's eyes turned red. He turned his head and raised his face, not wanting to let the tears roll down. But tears still slipped from the corners of his eyes. Mom, it's not your fault, it's just that the ninja world is too cruel. I am lucky because I met the master, and the master resurrected you. Compared to other orphans, I am very happy. Tomorrow I beg master to resurrect my father too, so that our family of 3 can live happily together. All the misfortunes I have experienced in the past have passed. As long as the future is good, that is enough. As he spoke, Naruto smiled. Kushina came over, stretched out her hand to wipe away the tears on Naruto's face, and said softly, "Yes, a bright future is enough." "Okay, go to sleep." Naruto scratched his head and said, "Mom, you should go to sleep too." Kushina pinched Naruto's cheek and said with a smile, "Okay, I know you are a chauvinist, okay." Kushina left Naruto's room. Advertisement. Soon Naruto put on his pajamas and black dog hat and went to sleep with a faint smile on his face and entered his dream. The door opened slightly, and Kushina walked in darkly, her footsteps gentle. She walked to the bed, squatted down, and looked at Naruto's face quietly. Just like that, she kept looking. "Third generation, you promised us and my wife that you would take good care of Naruto. Minato and I trust you, but you are so vicious. You are dead and I cannot seek revenge from you, but you still have a son and a grandson. I will repay every bit of the suffering Naruto has suffered to your son and grandson." The next day, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, but Mizuki still hadn't gotten up. He wanted to sleep a little longer, but the rapid knocking on the door completely knocked away his sleepiness. "Who?" Mizuki was very unhappy. He was busy so late yesterday and it was too much to not let him sleep a little longer today. "Master, it's me, Naruto." Mizuki opened the door and asked, "Why are you looking for me so early in the morning?" Naruto was stunned, looked up at the sun in the sky and said, "How early in the morning? Master, don't you watch the time? It's almost noon now." Mizuki said impatiently, "Okay, stop being so wordy, why are you looking for me?" Naruto licked his face and asked, "Well, master, you see you have resurrected my mother, but our family is not perfect. Can you also resurrect my father?" Mizuki was silent. "No, can't it?" Naruto asked anxiously. Mizuki said bluntly, "Naruto, your father Namikaze Minato, his situation is somewhat special. For the time being, I cannot resurrect him." Naruto was not discouraged because he heard the word, temporary, in Mizuki's words. Just because you can't be resurrected for now doesn't mean you can't be resurrected in the future. "Master, can you tell me the specific reason, or what conditions are needed? I can help." Mizuki nodded and explained, "You may have heard your mother say that before your father died, he used the ghoul seal and used the power of Shinigami to seal the Yin 9 tails in his own body." Naruto nodded. He had already heard Kushina talk about this in detail. "The cost of using ghoul seal is that your soul will be devoured by the Shinigami. Your father's soul is inside Shinigami, so I can't resurrect him for the time being." Naruto asked, "Master, you said for the time being, is there a way to solve this problem?" Mizuki nodded and replied, "There is a way, but it will take at least 3 years. Orochimaru only used living corpse reincarnation once, and he has to wait 3 years before using it again. Moreover, the only one who can block Shinigami bug is Orochimaru. Mizuki wouldn't risk his own life, lest he get away with it. So Naruto, I'm sorry to have to wait 3 years." Naruto didn't care, instead his face was filled with sunshine. "Master, there is no need to say sorry, you have given me hope, and I am very satisfied. It's only been 3 years, it passed quickly. Besides, the sudden resurrection of my mother makes me a little uncomfortable living alone. If there is another father, I will definitely collapse. So, let me get along with my mother for 3 years to get used to it." Mizuki smiled and patted Naruto's head. This kid was actually worried that he would feel guilty and deliberately said that he was not used to it. He is full of good intentions and always likes to think about others. What a good boy. After Naruto left, Sasuke came. "Can you teach me that technique?" Sasuke pointed at the planetary devastation in the sky outside the village, looking forward to it. Chapter 96. The Birth of a New Generation of Architects. Mizuki shook his head. "That technique is called planetary devastation. It is a Rinnegan-specific eye technique. You can't use the planetary devastation unless your eyes evolve into Rinnegan." Sasuke was disappointed, but he caught the point of Mizuki's words. "Rinnegan, is it the evolution of Sharingan?" Mizuki nodded. Having said this, Mizuki decided to tell Sasuke the evolutionary path of Sharingan. Ordinary Sharingan, from 1 Magatama to 3 Magatama, you know that. After 3 Magatama, Sharingan evolves again and will become Mangekyo Sharingan. After turning on Mangekyo Sharingan, a pupil technique will be awakened in each eye. The reason why it is called Mangekyo Sharingan is because each person's evolved eyes are different, and the awakened eye technique is also different. For example, Uchiha Itachi, the pupil technique in his left eye is Genjutsu Tsukuyomi, and the pupil technique in his right eye is Amaterasu's Flame. And Uchiha Shisui, the evolved Mangekyo Sharingan, awakened the pupil technique called Distinguished Heavenly Gods, which is known as the strongest Genjutsu. Your father also activated the Mangekyo Sharingan, but I don't know about his pupil technique. In addition, after opening the Mangekyo Sharingan, you can also use Susanoo. The giant formed by the combination of pupil power and chakra, integrating attack and defense, is the ultimate power of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke listened, his eyes full of yearning. He couldn't wait to evolve his 3-Tomo Sharingan into Mangekyo Sharingan immediately. He was very excited when he thought that after possessing the pupil technique in Susanoo, he could kill Danzo and destroy Konoha. So he asked, how can 3-Tomo Sharingan evolve into Mangekyo Sharingan? Mizuki smiled without hiding it. The way to unlock Mangekyo is to watch the people closest to you die in front of your eyes. Only strong mental and emotional stimulation can unlock powerful power. Sasuke's pupils narrowed suddenly. The excitement in my heart immediately faded away. He knew the feeling and the pain of watching the person closest to him die in front of his eyes. He doesn't want to open Mangekyo Sharingan. Mizuki continued, while the Mangekyo Sharingan is powerful, its use comes with huge risks. Every time you use the pupil technique, your pupil power will be consumed, and the pupil power cannot be restored. With increased use, vision becomes blurred until eventually complete blindness occurs. Sasuke's brows furrowed. Mizuki continued, to avoid the risk of blindness, Mangekyo Sharingan must evolve again and become Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. With Eternal Mangekyo, the power of the eyes is endless. Sasuke asked. The conditions for opening the Eternal Mangekyo should be more stringent, right? Mizuki nodded. Yes, if you want to obtain Eternal Mangekyo, you must transplant your brother's Mangekyo Sharingan into your own eyes. Uchiha Madara once transplanted the eyes of his younger brother Uchiha Izuna, thus opening the Eternal Mangekyo. His strength skyrocketed and he became a man as famous as first Hokage Senju Hashirama. Sasuke was shocked and couldn't help but ask, did Uchiha Madara kill his brother? Don't blame him for asking, because he was afraid that Uchiha Itachi would be the same as Uchiha Madara. Mizuki shook his head. No, Uchiha Izuna was killed by the second Hokage. Madara loves his younger brother very much. The two brothers have a very good relationship. Sasuke's face was expressionless, but he was relieved in his heart. Mizuki continued. The Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is not the end yet. The next level up is the Rinnegan. Advertisement. But the opening of Rinnegan involves the two sons of Sage of Six Paths. The story is very long. I want to go back to the house and take a nap, so I won't go into details. He yawned and prepared to go back to the house. Sasuke stopped him and asked, your left eye is the Eternal Mangekyo. As far as I know, you are not from the Uchiha clan and you have no biological brothers. So, there must be other ways to open it. Mizuki shook his head and said, my method is not suitable for you. Well, if there is a chance, I can give you a pair of Eternal Mangekyo. After saying that, Mizuki closed the door, walked into the room and lay down on the bed. Ah, sleeping is the most comfortable. I really hope to sleep until I wake up naturally every day. After thinking for a while, he got up again and separated a shadow clone. If you have anything to do, take care of it and let me have a good sleep. Shadow clone was also yawning and said with resentment on his face, you are going too far, body. Why should you let me work for you while you sleep? Mizuki's main body. I am my main body, and whatever I say is what I say, so please stop being wordy. By the way, the Seven Tails Jinchuriki named Fu is trying to keep her in Phoenix Village. If she really doesn't want to, then let Seven Tails stay. Save her life, a little reward is not too much. Shadow clone nodded helplessly and walked out of the door. As soon as he opened the door, he saw Tsunade coming with Nawaki. What do you two want from me? Tsunade said nothing, but raised his chin slightly and gestured to Nawaki. Nawaki stepped forward, bowed, and said respectfully, please accept me as your disciple and teach me the secret technique of wood style. Shadow clone was stunned and asked, have you awakened the wood style bloodline limit? Nawaki said, yes. Shadow clone was overjoyed, and in the room, Mizuki's body, who was half asleep, sat up directly. Wood style. Ha ha ha, great, whatever is missing is what you get. Now you don't have to worry about low construction efficiency. The main body quickly changed clothes, rushed out of the door, and pushed Shadow clone aside. The poor Shadow clone flew away, hit his foot on a stone pillar, and then his head fell directly into the soil and disappeared with a bang. You want me to be your master, right? Okay, I agree. He took out a seal scroll and said, take it, this is a meeting gift from my master. It contains 50 million taels of money. Spend whatever you want. Nawaki took the scroll with trembling hands. This master is so incompetent. Wood style is very powerful, but you have to practice it step by step, starting with simple techniques. He took out a ninjutsu scroll, handed it to Nawaki, and said, let's start with this jutsu. Nawaki spread out the scroll in excitement. Wood style. 4-pillar house technique. Its function is to build a house. Why don't I remember that my grandfather invented this ninjutsu? Nawaki looked confused. Tsunade on the side couldn't help but twitch his eyebrows. She clenched her fists, showing signs of attack. Mizuki said, don't underestimate any ninjutsu. Practicing this technique can effectively improve your wood style ability. The more exquisite the house you build and the more detailed the structure, the stronger your ability to control the wood style chakra. Besides, you will like this technique when you spend the night in the wild in the future. He secretly thought it was a pity. Although Nawaki has been accepted as a disciple, the system does not recognize it and cannot trigger the return. Advertisement. Nawaki held the scroll and was very happy. He read it as he walked and muttered, memorizing the order of the seals. Tsunade on the side is also holding a scroll, the one who holds the money. For the sake of money, she endured it and did not choose to have an attack. Looking at the two siblings walking away, Mizuki chuckled. This is really a sleepy time. Someone gave me a pillow. Nawaki soon started practicing the four-pillar house technique. At first, the house he made was shabby and crooked, but as he practiced, the house became more and more beautiful. This obvious improvement gave him more motivation to practice. He became interested in architectural aesthetics. As time went by, he was no longer satisfied with practicing in a clearing in the woods. He set his sights on the planned building land in Fenghuang village. Such a big place is enough for you to bring your architectural aesthetics to the ultimate level. At the same time, news spread from Rain Shinobi village. One-tailed Jinchuriki, seven-tails Jinchuriki, and nine-tails Jinchuriki all fell into the hands of Phoenix Village Mizuki. Mizuki collects the nine-tailed beasts and prepares to start the fourth ninja war. He wants to break the one country one village system, he wants to unify the ninja world, and he wants to be the king of all ninjas. The news spread at an extremely fast speed, and everyone knew about it, whether it was a big country or a small country. The seven-tails Jinchuriki of Taki Ninja Village was kidnapped. It turned out to be Mizuki's doing. This Mizuki is really vicious. It's not enough for him to kill the fourth Kazekage and the third Hokage. He also wants to capture the nine-tailed beasts. Such a person should be punished. I heard that he was an orphan and grew up in Konoha. In the end, he betrayed Konoha and killed the third Hokage. Such a person is really a wolf-hearted person. Konoha was attacked by Mizuki again, and the Hokage building was destroyed. In addition to Rain Shinobi Village, Konoha is also promoting Mizuki's negative remarks. Sand Shinobi also spoke up, saying that Mizuki was a despicable and despicable B***************** D for seducing the son of the fourth Kazekage. He also said that Sand Shinobi sent people to negotiate, but they were all killed by Mizuki. For a time, the entire ninja world was scolded, and Mizuki was nailed to the pillar of shame and became synonymous with evil. The news reached the bird country, and Mizuki smiled lightly after hearing it. Naruto said angrily, "Master, they slandered you like this, I'm going to teach them a lesson. I want to expose the insidious face of the third Hokage, as well as Sand Shinobi village. They're clearly attacking us, but in the end they're the victims. It's just too much." Mizuki comforted him. Okay, let others say it, it won't cause any harm to me. The tricks of these villains can only show that they are useless cowards. They dare not fight with real swords and guns. They only dare to make beeps. Arguing with such people will only lower our noble sentiments. Kushina frowned. Having said that, people's words are scary. What if everyone believes it and forms a ninja coalition to attack Phoenix Village? Mizuki smiled and said, "Don't worry, it won't happen. Konoha Village and Sand Shinobi Village don't dare. Cloud Shinobi Village and Rock Shinobi Village Jinchuriki are intact, so they can only watch the show. Mist Shinobi Village is isolated overseas, and they don't know if the Blood Mist policy will end, so they have too much time to take care of themselves. The 5 major ninja villages will not move, and the other small ninja villages will not dare to do anything wrong. So, no need to worry. Besides, even if the 5 major countries really form a ninja alliance, I'm not afraid. Even if we can't defeat them, we just have to hide in a hidden place with a small number of us." Everyone. Chapter 97. Akatsuki Organization's New Plan. Cloud Shinobi Village, Cloud Shadow's office. Neatly arranged floor-to-ceiling windows provide ample light, making the entire office bright, without any dark corners. Luxurious leather sofas exude luxury. Fourth Raikage Eye was sitting on the sofa with his legs crossed and one hand resting on the armrest of the sofa. The whole body is full of muscles. Mabui stood aside, wearing a secretary's short skirt and work clothes, very smart. The V-shaped collar, paired with a red-edged and black grid-patterned tube top, is slightly conservative yet full of charm. She was holding a folder in her hand and doing a work report. "Lord Raikage, this is the information about Phoenix Village and first-generation Hokage Mizuki. Konoha's intelligence control is very strict. We don't have detailed information about the battle on the roof of the Chunin exam, so we can't make a detailed analysis of Mizuki's strength and abilities." Raikage tapped the armrest of the sofa with his left hand, as if thinking. "A newly built small Phoenix Village actually has 3-tailed beasts. This is unreasonable. I have over 20,000 ninjas in Cloud Shinobi Village, but I only have 2-tailed beasts. This is so unfair. Mizuki should give me 2-tailed beasts in Cloud Shinobi Village, this is only fair. No, all 3-tailed beasts should be given to us. No, it's still wrong. Those 3-tailed beasts are originally from Cloud Shinobi Village. Contact the daimyo immediately and declare war on the Kingdom of Birds. Our Cloud Shinobi Village also dispatched 300 ninjas to attack Phoenix Village, and we must take back the tailed beasts." Mabui. "Raikage-sama, calm down," I said loudly. "Those are 3-tailed beasts, how do you want me to calm down?" Azabu said without changing his expression. "The Kingdom of Thunder and the Kingdom of Birds are too far apart, and there is also the Kingdom of Fire and the Kingdom of Earth in between. If we move, Konoha Village and Rock Shinobi Village will also move, and it will easily lead to a melee. Even if we catch Jinchuriki, we will easily be intercepted on the way back to the Land of Thunder." Raikage frowned. Mabui's words made sense. It seems a bit foolish to cross several countries to attack the country of birds. Mabui added. Let's talk about Mizuki. He has a terrifying record of fighting 3rd Hokage, 4th Kazekage, and Orochimaru alone, and killing 3 of them. He was also responsible for the bombing of Konoha's Hokage building this time. He walked away afterwards. Konoha had nothing to do with him. Such a ruthless person, we have to be careful when trying to make plans for him. Raikage was very reluctant. Those are 3-tailed beasts, 3, Mabui. Otherwise, I will go there in person, along with Bai, with fewer people, pretend to be a caravan and sneak into the kingdom of birds. Attack Phoenix Village without anyone noticing, and snatch Jinchuriki away before other countries notice. Although that Mizuki is not weak, he will definitely die if B and I join forces. Mabui. My lord Raikage, you are dreaming. 3rd Hokage, 4th Kazekage plus Orochimaru. The 3 cage level powerhouses are no match for Mizuki. Are you a little overconfident? At the same time, in the Kingdom of Earth, the conference room. 3rd Tsuchikage 2-scale Onoki is sitting at the top, with Lois and Black Soil standing behind him. The other clan chief advisors also sat in their seats. This is an opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. 1 tail, 7 tails, 9 tails, they should all be our rock shinobi village. The Kingdom of Birds and the Kingdom of Earth are adjacent to each other. They are so close. If we send our troops now, we will be able to conquer Phoenix Village tomorrow. In 3 days, the 3-tailed beasts will become part of our village. Advertisement. Tsuchikage-sama, give the order. Onoki is short in stature, but very powerful. He shook his head and said, although I haven't seen Mizuki's strength with my own eyes, he can win the title of Twin Shadow Killer. He is definitely not a weakling. He took 9 tails Jinchuriki away from Konoha, but Konoha did not send out ninjas to take it back. This is enough to show that Konoha is afraid of Mizuki's strength. So, don't act rashly. The longer people live, the more cautious they become. Onoki is not a muscle brainer like Raikage. He will think carefully about everything and weigh the pros and cons. In the Land of Wind, Sand Shinobi Village, the 5th Kazekage has not yet been selected, and the top management is seizing power. The hundreds of Sand Shinobi sent to Phoenix Village to seize 1-tailed Jinchuriki Gaara also became victims of the power grab. The Kingdom of Water is isolated overseas and pays no attention to news from the outside world. None of the 5 major ninja villages made any move, and the smaller ninja villages didn't even dare to have any evil intentions. Rain Shinobi Village, above the tower. Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan chatted for a long time, and quarrels broke out from time to time, but they soon returned to calm. I don't know how long it took, but the 3 of them finished their discussion and finalized the new Akatsuki organization's plan. Konan followed Yahiko and left, leaving Nagato sitting quietly on a chair, looking at the drizzle outside the window. At this time, Space Wrinkles and Uchiha Obito appears. His face was hidden behind a mask, so even the Renegons couldn't see through it. Nagato, you're shaken. Nagato said calmly. Yahiko is the leader of the Akatsuki organization. He was before and he is now. After discussion, the Akatsuki organization's original plan to capture the tailed beasts remains unchanged. But the final plan was no longer implemented and was changed to mediation. After the collection of the 9-tailed beasts is completed, I will become the new sage of 6 paths as 10 tails Jinchuriki. The Akatsuki organization at that time possessed absolute power that surpassed the ninja world. But the Akatsuki organization will not rule the ninja world, but will supervise and regulate as an existence beyond the ninja world. Monitor all countries and shinobi villages. If a war breaks out, the Akatsuki organization will stand up immediately and mediate. If mediation cannot be done, it will be suppressed by force. After listening to Nagato's story, Obito secretly breathed a sigh of relief under the mask. As long as the plan to collect tailed beasts remains unchanged, everything else doesn't matter. Anyway, in the end, it's not you Nagato who has the final say. That Mizuki, I will deal with him and bring the 3 Jinchuriki with me. In addition, without Kakuzu and Hidan, the Akatsuki organization is short of personnel and needs to be replenished as soon as possible. After Mizuki is dead, we can go check out Zabuza, the user of the decapitating sword. After Obito finished speaking, the space vortex appeared and sucked him in. Nagato looked at the place where Obito disappeared. He originally wanted to remind Obito not to go, it would be better to leave Mizuki to help collect the tailed beasts. But the words came to his lips but were not spoken. Although his time and space ninjutsu is weird, Mizuki also masters time and space ninjutsu. In a real fight, he may not be Mizuki's opponent. He has another conspiracy. He is not the same as us after all. If he dies in Mizuki's hands, it wouldn't be a bad thing. There was no movement in the big and small ninja villages, they were all watching. In Phoenix Village, with the addition of Nawaki, a master of wood-style construction, the construction speed of the village increased 100 times. Houses are rising one after another, and the real estate developers are so efficient that they kneel down and call them grandpa. In a certain room in the Hokage building, a girl was sleeping on a recliner. 2 sparrows flew outside the window, standing on the windowsill and chirping. The girl's eyelids moved slightly and slowly opened. This is where? Akatsuki organization? Advertisement. Fu woke up, looking at the unfamiliar environment around her, and thinking that she was attacked by people from the Akatsuki organization last night. She subconsciously thought that this was the base of the Akatsuki organization. You finally woke up. This is Phoenix Village, the country of birds, not the Akatsuki organization. It was first-generation Master Feng Ying who rescued you. After hearing the sound, Fu turned around and saw a beautiful young lady with long black hair and straight hair in a kimono standing at the door. First-generation Hokage, Mizuki. Fu breathed a sigh of relief. It was good that he didn't fall into the hands of the Akatsuki organization. The Akatsuki organization attacked her twice. During the battle, Deidara's gossip had already made his purpose clear. They came for 7 tails. Fu was terrified at the thought of 7 tails being pulled out of her body. She knew clearly that she would die after the tailed beast was pulled away. Miss, my name is Fu. What's your name? Then he praised again. You are so beautiful. Bai was not surprised and had long been used to it, so he said calmly, sorry, I'm a man. Ah, a man? Fu didn't believe it, so she looked towards Bai's throat, and sure enough she saw the raised Adam's apple. Oh, what a shame. When my little brother looks like this, I don't know how many men will be sad. Shiro did not answer, but said, come with me, Mizuki-sama wants to see you. Soon, Fu meets Mizuki. Fu from Taki Ninja Village, I saved you from the Akatsuki organization, but I didn't save you for nothing. Now you have 2 choices. The first choice is to leave Taki Ninja Village, join Phoenix Village, and worship me as your teacher. Fu immediately shook her head and said, no, I was born and raised in Takainen Village. The villagers did not dislike me because I am a Jinchuriki. They are all very kind to me, so I cannot betray my village. So I give up this choice. Mizuki nodded and said, the second option is to leave the 7 tails Chomei in your body in Phoenix Village, and then leave on your own. Fu's face paled and she looked at Mizuki warily. If you want a tailed beast, just say so. If you say anything, I will leave on my own. Don't you know that Jinchuriki will die after being separated from the tailed beast? Mizuki smiled. Of course I know, but it doesn't matter. If you die, I will resurrect you, so there is no conflict. Fu's eyes widened. Stop joking, this joke is not funny at all. Okay, now that I'm in your hands, I can't do anything you want, there's no need to make excuses to fool me. It's impossible for me to betray the village, so if you want to kill me and get 7 tails, just do it. Having said that, this little girl is not someone who accepts her fate. The next moment, she opened her mouth and sprayed out a piece of phosphorescent-colored phosphorus powder, which instantly filled the entire Feng Ying office. Secret Technique Scale Pink Hidden Technique. This technique has the effect of paralyzing the enemy's movement and obstructing the enemy's sight. The enemy is contaminated with phosphorus powder, and Fu can use this to track the enemy. After spraying the phosphorus powder, wings appeared from Fu's back and flew toward the open window to escape. Hey, little girl, why don't you believe what I say? Universal Pull. Chapter 98. Being my apprentice will bring you endless money. Unlock the seal on her body and extract the 7 tails from her body? Kushina nodded and agreed. Fu wanted to escape, but of course it was impossible. At this time, she had fallen into an illusion and couldn't help herself. She is not a perfect Jinchuriki and has no resistance to Sharingan Genjutsu. 7 tails is a tailed beast after all, and it is huge. Of course, it is impossible to break the seal in the village. So Mizuki came to an open space outside the village, and other people came to watch the fun. Let's start, Mizuki said. Kushina comes to Fu. Taki Ninja Village has good relations with Konoha, and Konoha helped complete the seal of 7 tails. Konoha's sealing techniques all come from the Uzumaki clan. Kushina's understanding and mastery of sealing techniques can be regarded as the strongest in the ninja world. Like Naruto, is it also sealed by the 4 elephants? Kushina felt no pressure, her hands formed a seal, and her red hair floated. After completing the seal, she pressed her right hand on Fu's belly. The seal of the 4 elephants, break it. The seal was lifted, and the 7 tails chakra in Fu's body immediately rolled out like thick smoke. 7 tails consciousness also followed chakra, breaking away from the seal and coming to the outside world. Soon, a giant insect appeared in front of everyone. This is 7 tails Chomei, which looks like a fusion of a beetle and a dragonfly. It has antennae on its head, 6 wings, and a slender tail. It looks very different. Mizuki feels that this thing is a bit like an alien, but the difference is that it has no legs and more wings. When all the chakras were released from the seals and 7 tails became a complete body, they immediately went berserk. Humans, you all deserve to die, although, it has a good relationship with Fu, and even lends its power to Fu. But this does not mean that its resentment disappears. Fu is not a perfect Jinchuriki, 7 tails Chomei has been sealed, and the hatred for humans has accumulated in her heart and has not been eliminated. Now that Chomei is out, the first thing to do is kill people. Kushina raised her eyebrows, her red hair fluttered, and adamantine sealing chains was ready to move. No hurry, let me do it, Mizuki said calmly. The next moment, the left eye Eternal Mangekyo opened. Chomei had no ability to resist, and fell directly into the illusion. Its eyes took on the appearance of a Sharingan. Kushina frowned when she saw this scene. She recalled some very unpleasant memories. Mizuki explained. That incident 12 years ago has nothing to do with me. Sasuke knows the identity of the masked man. You can ask him when you have time. Kushina turned to look at Sasuke, Fugaku and Mikoto's younger son. At this time, Tsunade stepped forward and said, Mizuki, the tailed beast is too dangerous and cannot be left like this. If the illusion is released and escapes, the casualties will be immeasurable. Mizuki nodded and said, I understand. Before dealing with Seven Tails, I will resurrect her first. Mizuki looked at Fu, who lost her breath and cast the Rinne Tensai technique. Soon, Fu came back to life, looking at Seven Tails in front of her and then around, with a confused look on her face. Why am I still alive? If the tailed beast is pulled away, won't Jinchuriki die? Mizuki said calmly. I said that I will resurrect you, but you don't believe it. Okay, I have taken the reward for saving you, you can go. Advertisement Fuke said. Let's go. Where to go? Back to Taki Ninja Village? I lost Seven Tails. I will be blamed to death by the village chief brother when I go back. You can only return Seven Tails to me before I can go back, otherwise I won't be able to leave. This little girl has a good personality, very lively and cheerful, and is considered an alternative among the Jinchuriki. She was not discriminated against in Takainen village, and the villagers were very kind to her. Unlike other Jinchuriki, they have been ostracized since childhood and no one cares about them. Mizuki smiled and said, if you don't want to leave, just don't leave. Phoenix Village has just been built and there are few people, I hope you stay. But one thing I want to explain is that removing the tailed beast from your body is not a bad thing for you or the Taki Ninja Village. The Akatsuki organization has targeted the tailed beasts. Even if you take Seven Tails back, the Akatsuki organization will find you again, and even the entire Taki Ninja Village will be implicated. You were lucky enough to meet me this time, but you may not be so lucky next time. Although I smoked Seven Tails, I can still save your life. If it falls into the hands of the Akatsuki organization, your life will be at stake. Fu whispered. It seems that this is the truth. The entrance to our village has been found, and it is indeed unsafe. However, you have to tell my brother, the village chief, this in person, otherwise I will have no shame in going back. Look, Seven Tails is now yours. You won't refuse to agree to this small request. Mizuki asked. Then will you stay here or go back to Taki Ninja Village? Fu said. Of course I'm going back. I don't want to be a rebellious ninja, and the people in the village are so kind to me, so I want to go back and protect them. Mizuki nodded and said, okay, when I'm free, I'll take you back in person. But, since you lost your tailed beast, you may not be able to protect the villagers. Why don't you worship me as your teacher? I can teach you powerful ninjutsu. In this way, although you have lost Seven Tails, under my guidance, you will soon gain enough strength to protect Taki Ninja Village. Everyone in Phoenix Village. What's wrong? Why do our village chiefs like to have apprentices so much? What are the benefits of being a teacher? In addition to weekends, winter and summer vacations, 5 insurances and 1 housing fund, what else does a teacher have? Really? Are you really willing to teach me ninjutsu? Fu looked surprised, but then turned hesitant. No, you are a traitorous ninja of Konoha and have a grudge against Konoha, and our Taki Ninja Village has a very good relationship with Konoha. If I become your apprentice, I will offend Konoha. When Konoha becomes angry and attacks Taki Ninja Village, there will be trouble. Mizuki said. This is not simple. You secretly accept me as your teacher and don't let Konoha know. Fu still shook her head. No, it still won't work, you will be discovered. Mizuki frowned. Wouldn't you agree to this? The reason why Mizuki wants to accept everyone he meets as a disciple is because Mizuki's vision has never been limited to a small ninja world. He knew that the ninja world beneath his feet was just a living planet in the universe. There are many races of life in the universe. The most terrifying among them is undoubtedly the Otsutsuki clan. The Otsutsuki clan searched for living planets and planted sacred trees. The sacred tree will swallow all life on the living planet and bear the fruit of the sacred tree. After eating the fruit of the sacred tree, Otsutsuki will complete the jump in life level and become the god of Otsutsuki. The ninja world has long been dominated by the Otsutsuki clan. Thousands of years ago, Otsutsuki Ashiki and Otsutsuki Kagaya came and planted the fruit of the sacred tree. Although Mizuki has never watched Boruto, he also knows some names: Otsutsuki Kim, Otsutsuki Momoshiki, Otsutsuki Pushi, Otsutsuki Ichiraku. Therefore, Mizuki did not feel relaxed because of the improvement in strength. His current strength can be regarded as Super Cage level, and there is still a long way to go before 6 pads level. Any Otsutsuki would have no chance of winning. Although the ninjutsu ability is weird and you can escape if you can't defeat it, blindly escaping is not the solution to the problem after all. Advertisement: he needs stronger strength, enough strength to deal with all crises. Therefore, he must recruit more disciples and use the system to quickly strengthen himself. Although the system's apprenticeship quota is full and new apprentices cannot be granted refunds, it doesn't matter. Accept them first, then wait until the number of apprentices in the system increases, and then you can start harvesting them directly. Mizuki thought for a moment and took out a scroll. This scroll contains 50 million taels of money. If you become my disciple, all the money will be yours. And if you are short of money in the future, you can ask me for it. I, Mizuki, have nothing but the kind of person who has a lot of money and can't spend it all. Fu's eyes widened in disbelief. Others, like Tsunade, turned away, shameless. Even Naruto had black lines in his head and despised Mizuki in his heart. To use money to seduce an ignorant girl who has no experience in the world is really too much. 5. 50 million taels. Even the daimyo of Taki country cannot afford so much money. Fu's heartbeat suddenly accelerated. How about you? Do you want to be my apprentice? Mizuki held the scroll and tossed it up and down in his hand, making it dazzling. Fu looked solemn and said, "Well, I'm not doing it for money. I just think that we are very similar. We both have such bold and generous personalities. Can I take a look at the scroll? Well, I really don't do it for money." Everyone turned away, even feeling embarrassed. Fu didn't care what anyone thought. As long as I am not embarrassed, others will be embarrassed. Mizuki threw the scroll directly, and Fu caught it, holding it tightly with both hands, her arms still shaking. After checking, she confirmed that Mizuki was really here, so. Enter the most handsome, super handsome and invincibly handsome master in the ninja world, and your most adorable disciple Fu Shen. Mizuki couldn't help but nodded and said, not bad, you are very discerning. Everyone. As long as I'm not embarrassed. After accepting his apprentice, Mizuki was very happy and said loudly, I will treat everyone to a big dinner tonight, a super delicious dinner. Upon hearing the food, Naruto became excited and asked, what kind of feast is it? Mizuki said, it's something you've never tasted before, called hot pot. Once you taste it, you'll definitely fall in love with it. Okay, everyone disperse now, I'm going to seal 7 tails. After everyone dispersed, Mizuki clapped his hands and shouted, Ninpo, planetary devastation. A large amount of earth and rocks floated up from the ground, tightly wrapping 7 tails, forming a huge ball that rose to 1,000 meters in the air. That way, no one can steal it. 7 tails, Mizuki is ready to leave Nobita. However, Nobita's chakra is too small to effectively seal the head, so it is temporarily sealed and will be sealed again after Nobita's chakra is increased. The same goes for 1 tail. Sasuke's chakra is not enough to seal the leader, so he needs to wait. Everyone looked at the planetary devastation in the sky and sighed in their hearts at Mizuki's power. Fu was even more stunned. The ninja in my memory should not be like this. Okay, let's go and do whatever we need to do. We've finished watching the fun. At this time, Gaara said, well, can you help me take out the 1 tail? I really want to sleep chapter 99. Izanagi. Change, okay, let's do it again. Kushina, please? Kushina nodded, repeated her old trick, and lifted the seal for Gaara. Sand burst out of Gaara's body crazily. Soon, a monster made of sand appeared in front of everyone. 1-tail Shukaku is chubby and looks cute, aha. Finally out. After Shukaku came out, he immediately looked up to the sky and cheered. Naruto wondered, is it so happy? It's completely different from 9 tails. In the sealed space, 9 tails couldn't help but snorted. At this moment, Shukaku turned his head suddenly and stared directly at Naruto. Yeah. The breath of a stinky fox, haha, I'm out, but the stinky fox can't come out, that's great. Kill the medium who stinks of fox, let the stinky fox die, yeah. Its claws were pointed directly at Naruto. 1 tail and 9 tails have never been dealt with. 9 tails looks down on 1 tail, and 1 tail is dissatisfied with 9 tails. The strange thing is that 1 tail is not weak in strength. He masters wind-style ninjutsu and can also seal. Among the 9-tailed beasts, he is second only to 9 tails and 8 tails. As soon as Shukaku came out, he immediately noticed the chakra aura of 9 tails on Naruto, so he was happy. Inside Naruto, 9 tails opened his eyes, his face full of anger. The next moment, Naruto's consciousness was pulled outside the iron fence. Hey, why did I suddenly appear here? Hey, 9 tails, is it your fault? 9 tails said. Little brat, I will lend you my power and teach that stupid civet cat with a bad mouth a lesson. I get angry when I see it, quickly use my chakra, press it to the ground and beat it for 3 days. Naruto asked, both are tailed beasts, your relationship doesn't seem to be going well. The fire of 8 trigrams burned brightly in Naruto's eyes. 9 tails roared angrily. Damn little brat, are you even listening to me? Naruto took his time. That civet cat calls you a stinky fox, and you call it a stupid civet cat. Do you two have a big grudge? That raccoon cat is quite cute and has a happy personality. How about you give me some face and forgive it? 9 tails. Shut up, kid, your 9 tails are the big brother, and his 1 tail is the little brother. As the big brother, you should be more open-minded. Don't worry, I will also persuade him to respect you as his big brother. 9 tails. Get out of here, but Naruto kept chattering. I finally came in and just wanted to chat with you more, after all, you are quite lonely here alone. Say something, I just want to make one more friend. By the way, I know who my mother is, do you know who your mother is? Humans are born from humans, and foxes are born from foxes. As long as you make friends with humans, you are no longer a fox, but a human fox. What's your mother's last name? 9 tails' expression gradually lost control. It regrets nothing. Is there something wrong with my brain? Why'd I take the initiative to bring this hateful brat closer to my consciousness? 6 paths old man, please come out and judge, what evil has this uncle done? It couldn't stand it anymore, so it blocked its ears with chakra, blocking out Naruto's voice. It is quite now, advertisement wind style, practice blank ammunition. Shukaku slapped his belly with his paws and opened his mouth to spray empty bullets. You have quite a hot temper, but you'd better be quiet in front of me. Mizuki directly activated Sharingan and instantly controlled Shukaku with Genjutsu. Immediately afterwards, planetary devastation was released again, sealing Shukaku into the sky. With 3 huge planetary devastations floating thousands of meters in the sky, Phoenix Village has successfully created its own unique and spectacular scenery. Immediately afterwards, Mizuki resurrected Gaara. The things in front of me are finally finished, however, there is much more to it. After all the fun, let's go. Sasuke, come with me. Sasuke has another opportunity to give back this month, and Mizuki has already planned what to give. Sasuke followed Mizuki to the office. How is your chakra controllability training going? Mizuki asked. Sasuke replied. It's fast. I can do the seal with one hand in half a month at most. That's when I can learn to apparate. Mizuki smiled and nodded. I have to say, Sasuke is a genius. This efficiency is amazing. This time I went to Konoha and got a forbidden technique from the Uchiha clan. Izanagi. Sasuke's face turned serious when he heard that it was from the Uchiha clan. Izanagi is a life-saving technique. After it is activated, it will turn the things that are not good for you in the next period of time into phantoms, and only choose the things that are good for you to turn into reality. But since it is a forbidden technique, there's a risk. After using Izanagi, your eyes will go blind. The reason why Danzo transplanted so many Sharingan is to use Izanagi. Hearing the word Danzo, murderous intent flashed in Sasuke's eyes. Mizuki took out the scroll. This belongs to the Uchiha clan, I will return it to you. Sasuke took the scroll. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Host grants disciple Uchiha Sasuke the Izanagi training scroll, triggering 1111 times return. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket host obtains Izanagi. Change. Close black lens bracket. Mizuki was speechless. Has the system become lazy? I don't even bother to think of the names of the returned items, right? Just add the word, change, at the end. Who are you fooling? Open black lens bracket Izanagi. Modification. The effect remains unchanged after use, but the side effects are greatly reduced. Close black lens bracket. Each Sharingan can be used for Izanagi for 100 minutes in total, and can be turned off at any time during use. A single Sharingan will only become blind after using Izanagi for 100 minutes. Close black lens bracket. Mizuki's eyes lit up. Well done. From the previous one-time function, it has been changed to the current one that can be turned on and off at any time. 100 minutes, if you plan carefully, you may not be blind if you use one eye until death. Thank you, Master. I will definitely make good use of this technique. Sasuke thanked him sincerely. Mizuki immediately said, no, this scroll is not for you to practice. This technique has been improved by me, and the side effects have been greatly reduced. System. Host, you are so shameless. Did you improve it? Close black lens bracket. Mizuki was unmoved. Come, I will teach you the improved Izanagi, please listen carefully. Advertisement learned from Izanagi. Change. Sasuke's strength immediately increased dramatically. If this technique is used properly, it will definitely have miraculous effects. Why Danzo was able to take away one of Shisui's eyes was because of Izanagi. The reason why Uchiha Madara lives longer than Hashirama is because of Izanagi. 100 minutes for each eye, 200 minutes for both eyes. Continuously avoiding death for 200 minutes may make the enemy's mentality collapse. This month, Naruto and Sasuke's return opportunities have been exhausted, and Nobita has one left. To be honest, Mizuki no longer expects to return anything good from Nobita. But after all, he is his disciple, and he should still be taken care of. Nobita's chakra volume has now reached Jonin level, but this is far from enough. Mizuki planned to seal Seven Tails Chome into Nobita's body. Jinchuriki, there must be a massive amount of chakra, otherwise the leader cannot be effectively sealed. Give him the hero's water, and then give him the returned hero's water to drink to increase his chakra dozens of times? Mizuki felt that it was not the right time. Nobita's chakra has another one card, even if it is increased 50 times, that's it. Forget it, let's give him ramen, and then give him the hero water after his chakra base increases. Mizuki found Nobita again and asked him to eat ramen. Nobita ate 2 bowls of ramen. The first bowl was given by Mizuki, and the second bowl was given to him by Mizuki after the system returned it. Chakra capacity is once again increased by 1 Kakashi. In the afternoon, Mizuki sent Shadow Clone to the capital of Bird Country to purchase a large amount of seasonings and ingredients. After the ingredients are purchased, they are processed with more than a dozen Shadow Clone. After dark, Mizuki gathered everyone together and treated everyone to a buffet hot pot. You can choose whatever flavor you want to eat. The bottom of the pot is spicy, so you can mix the dipping sauce there. Naruto, put less soy sauce, it's very salty. There are both meat and vegetables, so you can add whatever you like. The beef louvers must be picked up in 15 seconds, otherwise they will become old and unpalatable. The fat beef can be eaten when it changes color. The hanging dragon only takes 8 seconds, the beef balls can be eaten when they float on the water, and the shrimp sliders can be divided into small pieces with a spoon. Everyone had a great time eating. I am used to eating bland food, but now eating spicy hot pot is a bit intolerable. Some call it numbing, and some call it spicy. It was a little painful and resisting at first, but soon it became so exciting that I couldn't stop, and even wanted to scream loudly. Seeing everyone in pain and happiness, frantically putting vegetables into their bowls, Mizuki nodded. It seems that hot pot is still very popular. In this case, the future prosperity of Fenghuang village will be driven by hot pot first. After eating and drinking, everyone dispersed and the task of cleaning up was given to Naruto. Who told him to eat the most? Naruto left his job to shadow clone and went home to chat with his mother. Mizuki opened the door and entered the house while thinking about future hot pot plans. After washing, he went directly to the bedroom and fell asleep. The purring soon started. A figure poked his head out from the floor and then the whole figure floated up. It was Obito who came from Rain Shinobi village. As a ninja, you can sleep so peacefully, Obito said with contempt in his heart, came to the bed, activated Kamui, and wanted to suck Mizuki into the Kamui space. But at the next moment, Mizuki suddenly opened his eyes. The eternal Mangekyo has been opened in the left eye, and Obito has been enveloped by the high pupil skills and soul life. Uchiha Obito, I've been waiting for you for a while. The moment you entered the village, I discovered you. Do you really think I fell asleep? Chapter 100. Who is the lamb to be slaughtered? Under the mask, Obito's expression changed drastically. How does he know my true identity? The special mask I wear is made of the material of the sacred tree. It blocks out any sensory ninjutsu, and even the Byakugan can't see through it. How on earth did he know that? In an instant, Obito thought of the only possibility. That is, there is a relationship between Mizuki and Uchiha Madara that even he doesn't know about. Because the only one who knows his true identity, besides Uchiha Madara, is Black-White Zetsu. Black and White Zetsu is under the orders of Uchiha Madara, so if Mizuki wants to know his identity, he must have Uchiha Madara's intentions. Is he, like me, Madara's pawn? Wait, he has a Sharingan and a Rinnegan, could he be a direct descendant of Madara? Obito felt that he seemed to have discovered something extraordinary. Oh my goodness, Uchiha Madara, for hiding so much. Catch him and use him as a threat. After Madara is resurrected, force Madara to lift the curse seal in my heart. Why should he activate infinite Tsukuyomi? I, Uchiha Obito, am the true savior and the pioneer who will lead the ninja world to final peace. Obito was very excited at this time. He activated Chakra to speed up Kamui's ability to absorb Mizuki. Then he realized something was wrong. What did you do to me? Why did my chakra lose control? Obito's expression changed slightly. To be honest, he was really scared. When Kamui is activated to absorb people or objects, he will exit the hollow state. In other words, he can be attacked now. What's even more troublesome is that he lost control of his own chakra, which resulted in him being unable to use Kamui to enter the hollow state again. Haha, your reaction was a little slow, did you just realize it? You fell into my trap, and now, in my opinion, you are a lamb to be slaughtered. Mizuki looks down on Obito just as much as he looks down on Nagato. They all have a common characteristic, killing the master. Jiraiya has never been sorry to Nagato, and Minato has never been sorry to Obito, but Nagato and Obito didn't hesitate at all when they took action. Even Obito didn't want to let go of the newborn Naruto, which shows how crazy and cruel he is. Yes, Obito's love for Nohara Rin moved countless people. When Lin died, Obito's intense emotional upheaval caused his Sharingan to evolve directly from Namagatama into Mangekyo. You can imagine how he collapsed at that time, but that's all Obito deserves praise for. Therefore, Mizuki would not hesitate at all to kill Obito. Lamb to the slaughter? It seems that you have not recognized the reality. Obito chuckled and seemed unfazed. Although your technique is very powerful, Kamui has already activated it, and it will not stop automatically unless I take the initiative to stop it. What's more, I fell under your spell and lost control of Kamui, so I can't stop it. Obito's tone was tinged with sarcasm. You have been enveloped by Kamui and are about to be sucked into my unique space. You are the lamb to be slaughtered. Indeed, as Obito said, although Obito is shrouded in high soul life, he cannot perform any ninjutsu, illusions, or bloodline limits. But Kamui is indeed not relieved. The twisted space enveloped Mizuki, and the terrifying suction force tried to pull him away. Mizuki couldn't help but laugh. It's just a space ninjutsu. Do you think I'm helpless? It's just Kamui, let alone one-eyed Kamui, even two-eyed Kamui is nothing. Advertisement apparition. Mizuki disappeared on the bed, and was replaced by a Fukuru that happened to fly by the window. Gu. Fukuru shouted in confusion. The next moment, the bed, mattress, quilt, and Fukuru were all sucked into the Kamui space. The whole time, Mizuki kept his eyes on Obito. Gao Yuhanming tightly trapped Obito, leaving him with no chance of Hollow's escape. Uchiha Obito, now, who is the lamb to the slaughter? Who is it that doesn't recognize the reality? The next moment, Mizuki came behind Obito and put his hand on Obito's head. The way of the world. The power of Rinnegan's human world pulled out Obito's soul, which was then swallowed by the King of Hell. The soul was extracted, and Obito's body immediately fell onto Mizuki's bed. Death is not a pity. Mizuki snorted coldly, picked up Obito's body, and prepared to take it out and burn it. But at this moment, Obito's body suddenly disappeared into thin air. The next moment, Obito appeared in the corner of the house, his body having entered the hollow state and sinking directly into the ground. Uchiha Mizuki, I'm coming back for you. After saying that, Obito disappeared. Huh? When? This is obviously Izanagi. But Obito has been controlled by Gao Yuhanming, how can he use Izanagi? Is it possible that the high soul life is ineffective against Izanagi? Mizuki couldn't help but become suspicious. However, what puzzles Mizuki even more is why did Obito call me Uchiha Mizuki? With Sharingan it's Uchiha? Then should Kakashi be called Uchiha Kakashi? Somewhere in Phoenix, Obito emerged from the ground. He remained in the hollow state and did not dare to materialize at all. The method of killing 3 Hokage and 4th Kazekage, and allowing the Akatsuki organization to repeatedly fail in arresting him, is really weird. If I hadn't been cautious and sacrificed a Sharingan in advance to use Izanagi, I would have really died in his hands just now. I know too little about him and am not familiar with his abilities. If I want to catch him, I must find a way to restrain him. Obito looked at Mizuki's residence from a distance with lingering fear. Although he suffered a defeat at the hands of Mizuki, Obito did not leave immediately. Wouldn't it be a joke to come all the way and go back empty-handed? I can't deal with Mizuki now, but the others are easy. 1 tail and 7 tails are sealed in the air. I can't take them away, but 9 tails is still in Naruto's body. So, Obito turned his target to Naruto. Quietly, he came to Naruto's room and looked at Naruto sleeping soundly on the bed, and he smiled. He came to the bed, body materialized, and reached out to grab Naruto's shoulders. Kamui activated, the suction force enveloped Naruto, and a space vortex appeared. Naruto woke up immediately and asked in surprise, "Who are you?" Obito said coldly, "Nine Tails Jinchuriki, come with me." But the next moment, swish, Obito's hand was empty. Naruto is missing. Maskman, time and space ninjutsu, you are Uchiha Obito. Naruto stood behind Obito, holding the flying thunder god kunai in his left hand, and the Rasengan in his right hand smashed directly into Obito's back. He actually knows my identity, and he also knows how to flying thunder god. Obito was shocked, but felt the chakra fluctuation behind him, and he immediately hollowed his body. The Rasengan passed through Obito's body and was empty. The next moment, the door of the room was broken into pieces, and Kushina walked in, with red hair floating behind her head. "Obito, I've been waiting for you for a long time." Obito looked at Kushina, not too surprised. Advertisement. Yahiko Road is resurrected, and it's no surprise that Kushina is resurrected. The only thing he wonders about is that Mizuki used the Rinne Tensei technique to resurrect others. Why didn't he himself die? "We meet again, Uzumaki Kushina. I didn't expect Mizuki to wantonly use the Rinne Tensei technique to resurrect the dead. He will be punished. Besides, I told you 12 years ago that I am Uchiha Madara, not some Obito." Kushina shouted. "Whether you are Uchiha Madara or Uchiha Obito, you are dead today." "Ha ha ha." Obito laughed and said, "Little girl, who do you think you are? Saying such big words in front of me, Uchiha Madara, do you think you are first Hokage Senju Hashirama?" Kushina looked at Obito coldly. The next moment, dozens of iron ropes sprang out of her body. These iron ropes were like living creatures, wandering on the surface of the floor, walls, and ceiling. In the blink of an eye, the entire room was wrapped in iron ropes and became an airtight room. "Sealing technique? Haha, it doesn't work on me." Obito chuckled, prepared to repeat his old trick, and left through the underground in hollow state. "Naruto has mastered the flying thunder god, and it is impossible to capture him today. I am determined to win 9 tails, and I will come again next time." After saying that, Obito sank, but the next moment, he found that he couldn't sink. There is some kind of power on the surface of the iron rope that cuts off the space. In fact, this power was transmitted to him along the chain, allowing his hollow body to materialize. The power of space seemed to be beyond his control. "Do you think space ninjutsu is invincible? This is my new sealing technique, space blockade. This time, I want to avenge myself, my husband, and the suffering Naruto has suffered for 12 years. Son, kill him." Naruto nodded and appeared next to Obito in an instant, slicing Obito's throat with kunai. Blood spurted out. Kushina breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. At this time, Naruto squatted down to remove Obito's mask, but before his hand could touch Obito, Obito's body disappeared into thin air. The Izanagi performed earlier is not over yet. As a member of the Uchiha clan, Obito's use of Izanagi is much better than Danzo's. Danzo can avoid death once with one eye, but Obito can avoid death for 5 minutes with one eye. 5 minutes have not passed yet. "Mom, why is he gone?" Kushina frowned, she didn't know what was going on. Outside the house, Obito appeared and was ed to death again. The face under his mask began to distort. Damn it, how did Kushina master this sealing technique? If this happens, 9 Tails will have no chance. He is not willing to give in. Don't leave empty-handed. So, he turned his attention to Sasuke. Uchiha Itachi's younger brother, capture him and use him to threaten Itachi. Soon, he came to Sasuke's room. At this time, Sasuke was not sleeping, but sitting on the bed refining chakra. Obito quietly came up behind Sasuke and grabbed the back of Sasuke's neck. Kamui started again. "Who?" Sasuke opened his eyes and shouted. Feeling the weirdness in the surrounding space, Sasuke struggled hard but couldn't break free. "Give up, you have been captured by me and become my pawn." At the critical moment, Sasuke's left eye suddenly opened 3 Magatama, and at the same time the 3 Magatama began to rotate rapidly. The next moment, Sasuke was sucked into the Kamui dimension. Haha, it worked this time. Obito finally felt proud. Now, you can go back. His body hollow, sinks into the ground and disappears. Less than 10 seconds after Obito left, bubbles suddenly appeared on the bed. When the bubble cleared, Sasuke sat on the bed again.